Hey, there's people. What's going on, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're ready for some spooky stories. Oh man, good to see you, everybody. How am I today? I am good. I'm healthy. I'm happy. Really can't complain. Hi, Lils. Welcome, welcome. Full-grown pizza in the house. Mesh Lab, I'm cutting hair right now, so it's nice to listen. Oh, sweet timing, nice. Whose hair are you cutting? Your own? Going for the bangs? Chill vibes, what up? But yeah, day's going good. Really cannot complain at all. Just blessed with a nice existence. And yeah, the lockdown bullshit has definitely left me with a realization of longing for the old days of sitting in a restaurant and someone say, "What can I take for your order?" You know, like, it's just weird. Whenever you don't have something as simplistic as that, you start to, like, miss it quite a bit. Jacqueline Vroomman, the full-grown pizza. She has returned. Thank you, Vroomman. I wish Streamlabs had a way of telling me if this was a new full-grown pizza or like a renewal of people's membership each month and stuff. But either way, welcome back, Jacqueline and Karen. What is up? Cashy's in the house to hold it down. Ready to crack some skulls if need be. Just smashing heads in left and right, Cashy.
Hey, listen.
Hey, Brad. My dude Brad. What's up, Brad Allen with the $10 says, what up, what up? Not much. You were the first one to trigger the new notification sound, which I don't know if any of you guys recognize that noise. It's, hey, listen. But it's brought down the sound effect a little bit to sound less abrasive on the ears. Hannah, what is up? Honestly, this stream timed up for normal. I don't know, the day flew by there for a second. I thought I was going to have an early stream, and then it just... I'm such a procrastinator that things just kind of got away from me. And like the process of trying to edit that sound effect, the new notification sound effect, it's so funny. It like, anytime I do anything new like that, it always just, it just always takes me a ton of time because I'm always just like, caught up on all the little details, very OCD like, you know. Hannah's watching with her BFF, nice. We're gonna make it a family and friends affair, and I like that. Haley says, how many stories tonight? I think we got about 10 stories tonight, and they're all from subscribers on the subreddit, which, if you are unaware of where to send in stories, it's linked down below, but it's reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial. That's the best place to send your stories. And that is definitely where you want to get them. This music's getting a little feisty. Turn that down just a tad. Let me know if that's too loud for you guys here. Don't want it to kind of interfere with my voice, but sometimes the mixing process, I can only go by like visual markers on my screen to tell which is louder and which is not. But hey, Starian Smith with the 10 says, thank you. You're welcome, Starian. Thank you for the 10. Appreciate it. Alyssa, you sent a story. That's good to hear. Thank you for... Honestly, I need as much content as I can get, guys, because I think we're going to be probably going through a lot of subscriber stories, more than usual, maybe. For those that kind of want to get their ghost stories kick, you may start to hear those more frequently present in the subscriber stories because it's kind of a good mixture. Usually give the people what they want, as far as the majority of people wanting like the stalker stories and those creepy true stories, and then the paranormal stories will find their way in there from time to time near the end. Once you're all nice and comfy in your bed, then I just gonna ease a ghost in there, you know what I mean? Just gonna climb up into your bed and cuddle with you. Little ghosty poo. Hot water can melt other things. So yeah, I saw somebody ask, can water melt? I guess water, if it gets heated, can turn to a different phase, as they say. It can turn to steam. How's Pradeep? Pradeep is good. He's sitting on my old computer chair. That's his holdout for tonight. Hopefully he stays chill for the next couple hours. Otherwise, he's getting thrown out on the streets. Just kidding. AKA the hallway. Weston, what's up, my dude? Vapor, yes. Weston likes to vaporize many things with his laser vision. Harley, you want to send in your scary story? You should totes do it. Is my real face just a skull? Yeah, it's just no skin. Just a floating ghoul in space. Brianna, what is up? Amber, you wish your boyfriend's voice. Hey, what can I say? You know, sometimes some people have a good voice. Other people have a good head of hair. Can't have both. Sometimes you can actually, though. That's the unfortunate part. Jessica, with the $10 says thank you, Jessica. Thank you, guys. We're just gonna chill here. As you can see the timer while we let people kind of stroll in. We're gonna be chit-chatting. We got about 230 folks concurrently viewing the stream right now. Another 10 minutes of hanging. I hope everyone's having a good, safe day. They haven't been sneezed on by a stray pile of goo. Rigby with the 2 says, this live will keep me awake while I paint kitchen. Nice. Doing a little kitchen paint action. I'm sure there's a lot of interior design changes people are going through as they're cooped up inside. A friend of mine just started working at Lowe's, and he's saying it's, from what they say, is a lot more people have been coming in to do a lot of housework and things like that, because what else are you going to do? You're going to take your stimulus check and make your kingdom bigger, I suppose. Maya with the 5 says, hello, Maya. Welcome. You wonder if I'm bald. Let's just say my preferred haircut is a nice fade, because it kind of helps me work with what I got. Wink, wink. But hey, I hear bald is the new sexy. Right, guys? Am I right? Somebody please tell me I'm right.
Hey, listen.
Thomas S with the 20 buckaroonies says, I love listening to your stories while I drive all night. Truckers for the win. Oh, nice, Tom. Yeah, my father is actually a trucker as well. I'm not sure if he's back to work or not. I know that he kind of has an off season for his business, but and then they were kind of extended because of all this, but I'm sure now that things are kind of winding down a little bit that they'll start implementing them back into the workforce, getting back on the road. But yeah, he likes to listen to a lot of different podcasts and XM radio and all that good stuff. So I'm glad that I can keep you focused. I hope I don't make you tired while you're on the road. That would be the last thing we need. And Melissa with the 5 says, you should do a collab with Hell Freezer if you haven't already. Hope you and Pradeep are doing well. Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, Hellfreezer. That's a name I have not heard for quite some time. I think I've worked with them before, but it may or may not have been many a moon. What is the weather like in Ireland? Oh, I'm sure it's nice and rainy for them out there. But nice. Someone from Ireland? Roski, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm very sorry to hear that. Poo Poo, how are you, man? Any hot chicks on here I can stalk and you can write a story about? Yeah, Poo Poo's stepping up to the plate. He's creating content for me. If anybody wants to volunteer, we may have to start staging some of these stories. But at least we can say they happen. What's the background music? So this is Chill Step Mix 2020, 2 hours. And I think we're on, so we're at the 1649 mark. So this is AK, so the letters AK, Night Drive, which is kind of goes along well with the trucking situation we talked about, a little bit of a night drive action. Seems like bald guys make up for it by growing beards. Hey, yeah, we just redistributing our testosterone to other locations in our body. You know, it's just a movement of the wealth in other locations, you know? Talk about witches. I don't really know many witches, to be honest with you. Do I know witches? I feel like that's some... I feel like I've heard people talking about witches more often lately, or people are into like weird ritualistic witch type practices and things of that nature, but never really gotten to the bottom of whether or not there's any sort of like validity to any of that, you know what I mean? Or what you can really do with it. I suppose like if you're practicing some sort of alchemy, some sort of alchemaic process, I'm sure you could create some sort of natural medications of sorts, but whatever other weird practices are done by witches, really real life witches, yeah, they ride around brooms. A lot of people think they're... Well, actually, the witches have recently started a petition in our local government to do away with drones because drones have been coming out of nowhere, knocking these witches right off their brooms midair. And honestly, we've lost at least 100 witches in the past year, so that's been really sad. Kim, have you ever been knocked off your broom before? I'm really sorry if you had any friends that have been. Ivana, you going to bed? Hopefully, yeah, you can hang for a little bit before sleep time. Kashi, you could be a witch tomorrow. All you gotta do is say the right words. Sim sim salab bimity bim bim. Poo poo, you have a drone? I remember one time my friend, he came to, one of our yearly get-togethers. We went out on a lake, and he brought his drone with him. I think this drone cost about $1,000. He didn't divulge that to us till about a little later. I've never owned a drone, but they seem like fun. And literally, the one friend was holding it, and as soon as they started it, it went up in the air, caught like 5 feet in the air, caught like a little bit of a breeze, got knocked to the side, and immediately fell into the water. Now, it was humorous till I saw it. In my mind, I thought it would just like float or something like that. You know, I thought like, oh, no one would make a drone or these types of outdoor toys without them being waterproof. Well, it immediately just sunk directly down to the bottom of the lake, which I think at the point of the lake we were at, it couldn't have been more than like probably 6 to 10 feet or something like that. But that was it. Couldn't see the bottom, couldn't see where it went. And that was $1,000 of his dollars, literally out down the drain of this giant body of water, and I felt pretty bad. Jasmine P with $8 says, hope you're safe and healthy during this difficult time. Thank you for your visit. You're welcome, Jasmine. I am doing well. Hope everyone else is doing well. I mean, My friend, he actually works as a, because I used to be a nurse, and that's how we met, was nursing related activities. And he suddenly has come down with some flu-like symptoms. Curious how he's doing today, but he has gotten tested for COVID to see if that's what he's got. But he's been pretty sick the past couple days. He says he says it's nowhere near like where he feels like he's gonna die or something of that nature, you know what I mean? But he definitely says it sucks. He just feels like run down, like he has the flu right now. So the Kung flu. Can I please do horror stories from New Jersey? Maybe. I'm sure there's a lot of creepy stuff going on down there. Enzo with the $2 says, love your videos, keep up the good work. Thank you for the 2, Enzo. My buddy actually named his kid Enzo. I think he might be like 4 or 5 now, which is pretty wild how fast time goes by. He's he's like very Italian, if you catch my drift. Which the drift is just, he's Italian. Iwa says, witches in Swahili, we call them wanga. They're more like night runners. They run around in the dark doing acrobatics and scaring people. Well, that sounds like an awful fun time. They're just like doing nighttime parkour. I hope they're careful. It would be terrible for them to slip and hurt one of their shins or something of that nature. Poo-poo, you're Brock Lesnar. Shit, dude. Brock is a beast. Brock is like a full-on... he's more than a full-grown pizza. He's a couple pizza pies stuck together. Blake Ritchie and Vanilla Hey Jay with the $3 says, hey, love your videos. Keep it up. Thank you, guys. It's a tandem YouTube account there. Thank you for the 3. And Thomas S with the 5 says, other than Instagram, how can I submit a story? So, yeah, it's not Instagram, it's Reddit. So, reddit.com/r/let's-read-official. That's my official subreddit where you want to submit your stories to. The link's in the description down below. You can email it to me at letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, but it's just, unless it's like got an eye-catching title and has a good grammar and isn't just like one big block of text, like the likelihood of me reading an email anymore is just a lot. It's difficult, you know what I mean? Because it's just difficult to get to, and at least with the subreddit, it's like I can kind of, vet what stories are good and like the format and, save them for later, archive them, and just kind of get to them based on what you guys vote to be your favorite stories. So I definitely also need people to be on that subreddit to read stories and then upvote them if you like them, downvote them if you don't, all that kind of stuff. It just helps me figure out what you guys want to hear. Get a Let's Read TikTok. I thought about it, but I'm like, I don't even know what I would do. You know what I mean? Do I just like post like a story narration or something of that nature? I don't really know how to like upload on their site. Can you do it through a browser like YouTube? Because if I had to like transfer files to my phone, it's just going to be like really inconvenient early on, you know what I mean? Deshay, nice. I hope I can hook you up with a good fix here. Lexington, Kentucky nurses here. Tony and Jen Mason. Nice, welcome. How are the restrictions in the U.S.? Still the same? Non-essential stores and other stuff starting to open up here? Yeah, at least in my state, Pennsylvania, May 8th, things will start to open up a little bit. But specifically what, I haven't really looked into. I'm curious about, like, I know that non-essential stores are going to be operating a little bit how restaurants and various essential stores will be operating. But I don't know if that means that, the old essential ones are going to have more freedoms. I guess it wouldn't make sense to give them those freedoms initially, but I don't know. Hopefully over time people just like slowly more and more stop giving a shit, I suppose, and just we can get back to the way things were. Just keep looking at the data. I mean, that's the only thing anybody seems to agree upon, though. I don't know, the whole flattening of the curve narrative, just like, where'd that go? That was like a big hashtag and you know, a mematic form of thought that apparently people are not as on board with anymore. So I don't fucking know, man. Eventually we just have to start living our lives. Poo Poo with the $2 says, you get Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, or Trials of Mana. Now, I haven't heard of Trials of Mana. You'll have to fill me in on what that is. But I got Doom Eternal, played it for a while. It was pretty cool, but I got kind of bored of it. It was a little bit repetitive. Final Fantasy VII Remake I really want to get because I've always heard the story for that was pretty baller. And I like that the gameplay is now kind of like real time in the way that it plays out. So that's one that I'm definitely going to be getting here soon. But yeah, I'm curious what Trials of Mana is. I played through Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and that was I like that game. That was relaxing but intense at the same time. Some of the boss battles were like borderline Dark Souls hard, but freaking powered through that shit. Some people who were in the Discord to hear me raging out could definitely got a vibe of my anger there. Alright, we're gonna slowly transition over here to Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. Switch over to our awesome background video by Robin. It was Robin's birthday. I think I said happy birthday to him at the end of the last video, so happy birthday again, Robin. Hope you're having a good week. And oh shit, actually that reminds me. First off, 2 reminders. I gotta share this out on Twitter to let people know, hey guys, if YouTube hasn't told you, let me tell you right now that I am strammin'. And I should probably ask, because this first story should be pretty cool. True personal abandoned insane asylum horror story. I feel like you guys might be pretty interested in that. Yeah, Francisco, this is going to be quite epic. Because Robin actually does most of my thumbnails. He's a beast and a half. I'm just gonna DM him right quick. Oh, whoops, shit. Twitter is over capacity? What the hell does that mean? I guess briefly there was just too many people on Twitter. Alright. Let's get physical. Alright, scoot this over here into perfect view. About finished my tea. You wish he would sell some of his stuff? Yeah, how would you, if he were to sell it, how would you prefer him to go about selling his artwork? Would that be like posters or shirts or? Roger, hello from Scotland. What is up? Alright, my friends, let's kick this off. Opium tea. I wish, man. Some kratom tea. That would be great. I'd probably pass out. Back during winter... Oops. Alright, let me just read this sentence real quick. Sometimes I have to find my rhythm. Back during this winter, a couple of my friends... Okay. Back during this winter, a couple of my friends, who I've been doing urbex for a while with, decided to go check out the infamous asylum on the edge of town. For the story's sake, I'll call my friends Steve, Joe, and Rich. We decided to go at night to avoid unwanted attention from the security that patrols the grounds. Driving up to the place, you can truly see what 30 years of abandonment can do to a building. Vines growing up the sides, busted-out windows, animals claiming the building as theirs, and, of course, the graffiti. Steve parked his car behind some brush to remain hidden from the street. We started to walk to the patient housing and treatment building. Only brightened by the moonlight, we could see the beautiful early 1900s architecture of the four-story building. As our group climbed under the joke of a fence, we went to the entrance and put on our respirators. As we opened the old paint-chipped door, we instantly saw a looming staircase that went to the first floor. Once we climbed the stairs, we noticed that it led to the dormitories, but the staircase kept going up 3 more floors. I came up with the idea to split into groups of 2 so we could cover more ground and try to find something cool. So me and Joe, the 2 youngest of the group, decided we would venture up to the 2nd floor while Steve and Rich would explore the 1st. We gave each other good lucks and headed up to the 2nd floor. Using our phone's flashlight, me and Joe were able to make out the words, "Patient Treatment and Offices" on the old metal door. To our surprise, it was unlocked, and we found ourselves into a long, never-ending system of hallways. Most of the rooms contained old hydrotherapy bathtubs and showers. We stumbled onto the Urbex gold mine. We were so anxious to explore the rest. I noticed Joe stopped walking as if he was listening to something. I said, "Joe, what are you—" until I was cut off by Joe shushing me. He then pointed to his ear and pointed below us. I stopped to listen and could make out a faint voice of 2 men humming. I told Joe, "It's probably just Steve and Rich." It was at that moment we both turned our heads to the door that we had entered after hearing the metal door slam shut with force. "Steve?" Joe said nervously. The only response we got was more of the humming no more than 10 yards away. This was our cue to get out of there. We sprinted down 2 long winding hallways and all the while could hear pounding steps behind us of at least 3 men. When we got to the end of the hallway, I could make out an old fire exit sign with the glow of my light. Me and Joe barely made it to the door and slammed it shut. Through the small busted pane of glass of the door, I could make out 3 dark figures of at least 10 feet from the door. We found the stairs and pretty much jumped them all, then bursted out the exit. I don't think me and Joe have ever climbed a fence that fast in our lives. We didn't stop running until we got to the car. To our surprise, Steve and Rich were both sitting in the front seats. We screamed for them to unlock the doors and frantically told Steve to drive away. Steve, looking confused, drove away, leaving that nightmare of a place behind us. Rich wanted to stop and get coffee. During this time, they told us what they experienced. As me and Joe went upstairs, Steve and Rich entered the dormitory space. They checked out a couple of rooms, but said that they were all empty. So Steve went to call me to check if we found anything cool, but it went directly to voicemail. So Steve and Rich figured that we had just left due to the building already being looted and went out to the car. When me and Joe asked if they heard humming, they just looked at us as if though we were crazy. That was the first time I went to that asylum and will most certainly be the last. Cashy says, "Oh my god, the 24-month badge for members is a fedora. I'm about to become a nice guy. Oh no." Yeah, you've achieved nice guy status. M'lady? Thank you, m'lady. There's fluoride in the quarantine water. Yeah, I saw that they were starting to cover that sort of declassified UFO stuff from like... they covered it, I think, like a year or 2 years ago or something. I remember seeing it briefly discussed, but at the time it was like leaked footage, so it was really weird for the news to cover that. And to me, it's like even weirder that now that it's like declassified by the Pentagon, that's what they've decided to cover again, you know, this period of time later. I don't really know what to make of it. I haven't really looked into it too much. I mean, UFOs, once again, can pretty much be anything, like just unidentified flying objects. I mean, they could literally be anything. They could be, you know, drones from a kid. Obviously, they're going pretty fast. They could be technology from other governments. They could be extraterrestrial life. They could be literal entities that are only viewable in like certain spectrums of light and things like that. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say what all that shit's about, but I imagine I remember one of the interesting conspiracy theories I heard was like, if the government ever does divulge some sort of like, you know, I guess disclosure of extraterrestrial life, it's usually will probably be only done in a manner that's probably to control a large amount of people. So hypothetically, there was a theory of like where there was like a false flag alien invasion or something like that. Not necessarily like an invasion per se, but like something where an attack is done with like technology that seems as if though it would be like hundreds of years in the future or something, or just like technology we haven't seen before, and then it will be, after a period of time of discussing aliens, then it'll just be, I don't know, just sort of used as a way to sort of unite people, sort of consolidate power. I mean, just like every other process or whatever. And yeah, it's hard to say what will happen, but to me, anytime like the sort of normie mainstream media starts talking about aliens, it's either they have nothing else to talk about or need some sort of distraction or whatever. I mean, could be all bullshit. Who knows? Leanne, done with the $3. Fist bump, baby. Bro fist. Yo, what's up, bros? Bro fist. Anything that's unidentified and is a flying object. Yeah, it really is really, could be anything. Fry's a simp for aliens. Yeah, I definitely am a simp for them, burping aliens, yeah. Once they probe me enough, they make me burp quite a bit. But out my bum. Oh, wow. Pradeep's like doing this funny like sort of side sitting stance, but he looked like he was like about to like fall over from being like starting to fall asleep again. It's pretty cute looking. It reminds me of like kittens do that, but he must be poop from a long day of sleeping. The NWO. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on with, like, I feel like I'm almost under this interpretation, like, sure, if you have enough resources in your pocketbook or various assets, various, like, manners in which, you know, to control a larger population, like, sure, you could find ways to manipulate people to, you know, push some sort of agenda. Maybe you could control other powerful people as well through blackmail and things of that nature to control their assets and their money and keep them from interfering in your plans or whatever. But to me, there's also a part of me that thinks, like, when it comes to the sort of grand globalist conspiracy thing, is that, like, I almost feel as if we as humans are so stupid that I almost feel as if though most people are too dumb to even really pull off half of the things that they're trying to accomplish. So some of like the sort of grandiose conspiracy theories to me is certainly within the realm of possibility. You know, as Joe Rogan says, it's what does he say? It's certainly possible or whatever. But at the same time, I just feel like even if you have some like hive mind of people trying to figure stuff out, I still feel like that hive mind as a whole is pretty stupid and kind of incapable of, you know what I mean? Even the people at the top, it's like the tippitiest top is geniuses or the people with the most money. You look at celebrities, they have a ton of money or whatever, or you look at individuals that are the CEOs of companies or create stuff. Even Elon Musk, you know, who's in all his genius still can get real high one night and then tweet out something about 420 and just tank a bunch of shit, you know what I mean? Or make decisions in his life to marry the wrong people, you know what I mean? Like, everybody is fallible, and a lot of the times I feel like we almost give certain particular groups like too much credit. Like, I just don't think the whole controlling of the human population is ever really obtainable. And if someone desires that, then they should just let it go, because All you can do is control yourself. All right, so this next story is a almost kidnapped story. I didn't miss a donation, did I? Sorry. Oh no, we're good. We are good, dog. Lila says your meme page makes me happy. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have Instagram, but my normal Instagram is let's read .official. My Twitter is let's read creepy. But I started a meme page on Instagram as well. You'll see me promoting that on my story on my normal Instagram, but it's called Horny Computer. And I just figured, one time I was talking to Jensen one night, and then he had said that, and I was like, that sounds like a hilarious meme page. And I've wanted to start a meme page for a while just because, I don't know, it's just fun to share memes, and I thought I do it so often, why don't I just start a page? Because some of these meme pages get pretty big followings, so definitely follow my Horny Computer meme page, and send me memes. DM me memes, send me memes, and we can have a little bit of a community compilation of just silly bullshit. Because I mean, there's really no purpose to it. It's not like I'm really trying to get like sponsorships on it, because I don't think it will ever get to that point. But if you ever have some, just send me, because I am definitely, I'm very much a man of meme culture. I love it. I think it's so funny. I just like comedy. Comedy is the top tier of life. Dolly Reynolds Dolce has become a full-grown pizza. Everybody say hi to Dolly. Thank you, Dolly, and welcome back if you were already a member. Blossom Dagger with the 2 says, making mass and listening to you. Great work. Thank you, Blossom.
Hey, listen.
Hey, let me let my cat out real quick. Nice, Dolly. You are an official Buttersock cult member. Welcome. My cat wants out, of course, so be right back. He was scratching on the chair, which usually means he wants to go out. Then as soon as I walked to him, he just like collapsed onto his side, be like he wanted pet or whatever, and wants attention. So it's honestly, as soon as I start talking to people or talking to you guys during my streams, he just like suddenly wants all this attention. And right now, yeah, he's just like laying on the chair pouting like I'm not, like he doesn't get 100% of my attention every single freaking day. It's his little sabotage. Hey, listen, Linda. Horny Computer. Yeah, it's not going to show up in the chat because you can't. Apparently, YouTube doesn't want people saying horny. I just accepted yours, Anthony. But yeah, at Horny Computer. That's the meme page. The normal Let's Read one is Let's Read.official. So hey, follow both if you're bored. You know. Trying to get the Let's Read one to 10,000, and the meme page is at about 200, so. No eating honey mustard Snyder pretzels. Why not? Those sound amazing. Brett, you were stalked once? I'm sorry to hear that. But hello from Ohio, my neighboring state. So this happened almost 7 years ago. Me and my friend, named Anna, we were 13 years old. I still vividly remember this incident, and I think this is a great lesson for young girls. As most of us young girls back in 2013, we were fans of One Direction. My friend Anna and I went to the cinema to watch the movie This Is Us about 1D. Oh, 1D, what the fuck? Wait, was that the movie of One Direction? This Is Us. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, okay. 1D. I didn't know the term. You guys listen to 1D? Ohio isn't real. I think it does sound like a made-up thing. What a weird OHIO. Like, why would you ever name a state that? It's crazy. Jensen, what's up, doggy doodah? I was telling them about you were my inspiration for Horny Computer. As most of us young girls back in 2013, we were fans of One Direction. My friend Anna and I went to the cinema to watch the movie This Is Us about One Direction. We were having fun and singing along, so the movie was over at 10 p.m. My friend called her dad to come and pick us up. We knew we had to wait for about 20 minutes before he arrives because both of us live outside of the city. So we were walking around and talking about the movie when we heard some men asking us, "Hey girls, need a ride home?" We just kept walking, pretending we didn't hear anything. A few moments later, we stopped and waited for her dad in a lighted area because we thought it would be safer that way. Then the same men came again and stopped their car right in front of us. At first, I was irritated to see them again, but then fear kicked in. The guy in the passenger seat said, "Come on, girls, get in the car. We can give you a ride home, or even better, you can go to our place and have some fun." I was shocked hearing that because they looked to be around 30. They looked to be around 30. What state have you guys been to that's been your favorite state to have visited? I was shocked hearing that because they looked to be around 30 and we were only 13 and definitely didn't look older than 13. My friend replied, "No, my dad is coming soon. We really don't need a ride from you." Suddenly, one of the guys stepped out of the car and was coming to us. We started shouting to go away and screw off. Then the guy came to me, grabbed my arm, around my upper arm. All kinds of things went through my head, like what they will do to us. What if I don't see my family again? All in that instant. I knew I had to do something if I don't want anything bad to happen to us. I managed to squirm out of his grip and we started running. Then finally we saw that her dad is coming and she said it out loud so that they could hear it. After that, they just bolted away, back to the car and drove off. I can only imagine what they would do to us if we had agreed to come with them, or if the other guy came out of his car and put us both in the car. And that's my story of almost being kidnapped and who knows what else. Always be prepared, girls, and always check your surroundings. The creeper voice always makes you say run. "Hey ladies, how you doing?" Dolly says Hawaii. Brad says Brazil. Fry says Wuhan. That's fair. That was a fun place. Tennessee, Canada. Tennessee, two Tennessee. Oh no, wait, yeah, two Tennessees. PA. Oh, nice. Smartland, you had fun in PA. Interesting. Canada, Tejas, Texas. Mars. Damn, Weston. Go to Mars, dude. Let's go to Mars. Your state of New York, Indiana, Texas. Planet Venus. Cali. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Nice. Kamaya wants to know if anybody by chance is 15. Are you trying to get them to join the, what's it called? Club Penguin? Arizona. I do want to visit Arizona. I'd like to visit like every state. That would be pretty sweet. Oh, Armando, you're in Oahu. That's cool. I did visit Oahu back in 2017. It's crazy how time flies. Guys, click that like button if you haven't already. Click share if you're able to do that with Twitter, Facebook, what have you. It's so funny how the Burger King foot lettuce thing has taken off because I actually sent a picture of this kid who was doing the T-pose, but he was standing in standing in the lettuce bins at, as an employee at Burger King. Sent that to Chills. He thought that was pretty funny. He said he was a legend. Steph, hey brethren. When I was going into my 4th year of university, I decided to move out of my student residence building and get an apartment with my friend. It was always a scramble to find a place in the small university town, but we found a small apartment and quickly placed a deposit on it. Brenda and I had been friends since our 1st year of university. During Frosh Week, wait, is that a thing? Frosh Week or Fresh Week? Frosh Week? The fuck is Frosh Week? Maybe they...
What the fuck is Frosh Week?
A period before the start of an academic year at a university or tertiary institution. A variety of events are held to orient and welcome students during this period. Other names include Orientation Week, Welcome Week. Dude, my college experience was such dog shit. Does a prostitute count as traveling? I guess it depends on where her vagina is from. I'm going to heaven. 7 minutes in heaven. My freshman, God, it was so boring. Like, the college I went to, I just, could not relate to any of the other students and stuff. And, because, I guess I kind of grew up in, a yuppie area. And then to sort of go to a more rural school, it just always felt like the majority of the people I interacted with were a lot younger, I suppose, or a lot more interested in stuff that was, I don't know, not as funny, for sure. And, but at the same time, I kind of regret that I didn't allow myself to kind of be a little bit more loose, you know what I mean, with how I approached college. Granted, once I got to my sophomore year, it was as if though college, I really had to hone in on my nursing bullshit because it was really hard. And, I don't know. Looking back, it's like, I guess really, at the end of the day, you're not really going to do anything different even if you are given another chance, because that's the shitty part about school is, you want to have fun, but you also got to focus so hard on your stupid studies. Fucking stupid studies. College isn't supposed to be about learning. What the fuck? During Frosh Week, she had immediately butted heads with her roommates and spent a... Sorry, my cat's immediately... immediately just smushing himself into every material possible. It's so funny, never does that, within... I guess sometimes when I'm, playing games and stuff, I'll do it, but I won't notice, so I'll just leave my door open, and then he eventually finds his way out. Deshay, you ordered some merch. Nice, dude. Nice. Thank you. You'll have to... Yeah, if you guys ever get any merch, definitely send me some pics of it either on Discord or on Instagram or whatever, and I need to make some posts related to merch. I haven't done that in a while. You lived in Oahu for 6 years. Dang. I liked Oahu, but it was I felt like I was to one end of the island to the next. And did you go in between different islands at all, or taking the little planes or whatever? Just because that was kind of the weird thing is I didn't really like that feeling of being landlocked, but at the same time, it's not like I really go anywhere from my hometown here too often, but it's kind of interesting, having the option, I guess, at least. And then if you try to go stateside, it's the plane rides, holy shit, it's freaking 12 hours. During Frosh Week, she had immediately butted heads with her roommates and spent a lot of time hanging out in my room. I'm pretty shy, so honestly it was nice to have made a friend so quickly. There were some red flags. She hated my boyfriend, and was also pretty nasty to my friends who would come and visit from home. She also seemed to be fighting with her friends and family back home a lot. Again, I was just happy to have someone to go to meal hall with. So back to us moving in together. The first red flag was when, without consulting me first, she bought a ton of furniture for the house. A new table, chairs, couch, all new kitchen utensils, etc. She then sent me the bill and told me I owed half. My extended family had already offered me lots of hand-me-downs, so I had been planning on bringing those, but I didn't want to start our living arrangement off on a negative tone, so I just paid what she asked. Within a week of moving in together, her boyfriend moved in as well. Right away, I told her that if he was going to live there, he had to pay something in rent. She became very offended and asked why he would have to pay... Oops. I'm so offended that you would ever expect my boyfriend to pay money. Winter Heiser has become a full-grown pizza. Welcome to the Buttersock cult, Winter. Everybody say hello to hello. Hello. Say hello to Winter. You want me in a cage like Shakira? Did she do that at the Super Bowl show? I know she did something real cool with her tongue. Mr. Gooley, you just got off your 12-hour shift making essential hand... Oh, you make hand sanitizer. Time to kick back and listen to Let's Read. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's so tough sometimes, like, you know, because some people just want to be nice and maintain stuff or whatever. You know, maintain face or and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I remember one time when I went to senior week, this was back, I mean, this is stupid to talk about, but this is back whenever I was like just graduating high school, and I remember my buddy brought his, you know, they all brought their girlfriends. Terrible idea, you know, just, I feel like in that scenario, like obviously bring your significant others, but I also feel like those kind of circumstances is best for other, like, everybody to go do their own thing, if you feel me on that one, just because it was like she went out and bought like hundreds of dollars worth of groceries and then immediately expected all of us to pay, but it's like we all had our money like allotted to figuring things out anyways on our own for food for a week, you know what I mean? Whether it was from money that we got from parents or, you know, people who gave you money for graduating, all that kind of bullshit, or money you had from working, you know what I mean? And so that was real fucking stupid, but I just remember like, oh man, we all had like kind of a falling out in regards with her specifically, just because she would just get like psychotically drunk, you know what I mean? And just like the type of drunk that like has a lot of like history going into the night, and then it's just like, and then just, you know, ruining everyone's night by being fucking like screaming, crying, and psychotic with the boyfriend, and then eventually you just have to, like, being that this is nowhere connected or necessary for your existence to be around, you just separate yourself from it and go do something else. But all that shit really sucks. I really don't like drama at all, and I don't like dramatic people. They just suck my energy dry. Okay, I'm done bitching about that. That was old news. Thomas with the $2 says, will you do more camping, search and rescue story? I definitely would like to. I'd like to come across more of those. If you guys have camping stories, those are, I feel like, a little bit more common than search and rescue, but that would be sick. If you have ate at Crystal's or White Castle, you have eaten skillet scabs. Ew, what the fuck? That sounds yucky. Spooky spaghetti. All right, let's keep rolling along. Thank you guys for dealing with my nonsensical rambles. She became very offended and asked why he should have to pay since he was only staying in her room. Things only got worse. They were both very messy people and would leave the kitchen and live... They were both very messy people and would leave the kitchen and living room a total mess. They would sleep almost all day, and her boyfriend would have a fit if I made too much noise. One time he came out of the room at 5 p.m. and demanded I stop cutting carrots so loudly. It was weird. Things really hit the fan when I reported Brenda's boyfriend's living arrangement to our landlord. I had told her that it could come to that if he didn't pay anything, but she continued her defense that he was only living in her room. Our landlord was livid. Apparently he had already suspected the boyfriend was living there and asked her about it, and she lied. Not only were they taking advantage of me, but also the landlord, as we didn't pay heat, lights, or water. The first scary thing that happened was when I came home one night and I found the hallway lights leading to my bedroom all wouldn't turn on. It was pitch black. It was late though, so I just walked through the darkness and went to my room. The next morning, I opened my door and realized that there were knives leading down the hallway to a... Oh shit, it's kind of fucked up already, Jesus Christ. Maya B with the 5 says, I can't stand drama myself, I'm very protective of my energy. Yeah, I mean, shit. People talk about energy and things of that nature, but like, I mean, you guys give off great energy, and I'm going to feed off of it, you know what I mean? As weird as that sounds, I know it sounds as if though, like, I'm kind of generating this energy by myself, but I think there's sort of like a comfort in it in a sort of like indirect sense where I'm able to read your guys' comments, your funny comments or your nice comments and all that kind of stuff, which I really appreciate. And, you know, just kind of like beep bop, beep bop, bop, boop, beep bop off of that, you know what I mean? And that's why I really appreciate people in IRL life who have just like good sense of humor, positive energy, like talkative people. Like, you know, that's why sometimes I'm kind of drawn to a little bit, to maybe people who might seem a little bit crazier. But that's only because they have more energy to give off. Now, sometimes maybe that energy can like translate to dramatic energy too, which obviously is not always the most fun. But then the individuals who are more on the like sucking of energy out, or the negative energy, like, you know, those people that, like, I used to have people at my old hospital job where like as soon as they came into the room, you know, they just like all of the energies just went to negativity because they were so negative, and they couldn't stand the fact that other people were happy or whatever, and they were just gossipy bitches, you know what I mean? Just miserable human beings, you know? And they had no problem like imparting that negative energy on you. So that shit always pissed me off, but I try to like just ignore those people and, you know, fill a big pie with whipped cream and smash it in their face. That's really the only defense sometimes. But also like, I feel bad because sometimes I'm not very good with like people who are too quiet. Like, I've gone on dates and stuff where I kind of have to generate the majority of the conversation, and you know, and I can't do it. Like if the person doesn't have some sort of like certain level of like energy or quirkiness to them, like I just can't, like I almost like have to feed off of them, you know what I mean? And I don't even know, dude. I don't even know. But I do know guys who are like way, like they're really good at just sort of like lifting people up. You know what I mean? Like in the sense of like, if they're quiet as hell, like they're almost like they look at that person as like a target that they want to like get something out of them. You know what I mean? And they can be that like 95% of the conversation. But for me, I need someone to be at least like 50-50, or yeah, I'm an energy feeder. I'm just sucking it all up. Give it to me. Give me your goo. Okay. I didn't miss. Oh yeah, sorry. Anyways, the next morning I opened my door and realized that there were knives leading down the hallway on the floor. Somehow I had missed them. I collected them and immediately went to my roommates, who claimed she didn't do it. Later that day, when I checked the lights, I figured out that all the bulbs had been unscrewed. I called my landlord and asked to end my lease. He refused. I would have to create a police report and have her evicted. I don't know why I didn't do that, but I just decided to stay out of the apartment as much as I could. The next incident was worse. In my first year of university, I had dated a very scary and abusive person. He would scream at me constantly, among other things. Our breakup was messy and ended with him threatening to seriously hurt me. Brenda knew this. One night after an evening class, I came home to find 3 people in our living room: Brenda, her boyfriend, and my ex. I raced into my room and called another friend to come over. Fortunately, my friend Morgan came right away. He was over 6 feet tall and played on the school basketball team. We hung out for most of the night. I much safer and even decided to go to the kitchen to get us some snacks. Oh, I felt much safer probably. Mr. Gooley with the 5 says, I'm going wilderness camping off the grid in the Adirondacks this weekend. I hope I don't come back with any stories that end up on this channel. Dude, Mr. Gooley, I hope you see motherfucking Sasquatch. That would be sick. Isn't that where they see a lot of Sasquatch sightings, is like the Adirondacks and stuff? That's at least what I hear, but I hope you're safe, you know. I know a lot of people have been saying that a lot lately, but I mean, I think being safe out in the wilderness is definitely something a lot more to consider. Especially, I've had friends. Well, a friend of mine, he had, I guess they call it like the triple crown of hiking or whatever. You know, you do the Appalachian, then you do some other random places. And he was saying that he was, I don't know exactly where, but all of a sudden, like, rain and ice rain started hitting, and then he had to, like, set up camp, and he was, like, borderline, hypothermic, and, he was trying to send, like, a message or do something. I forget exactly, but he eventually just found himself slowly becoming more and more tired. And then the story was pretty miraculous in the sense that it was like something was telling him that he couldn't fall asleep or that he probably would die. So he like had done something to kind of generate a lot more heat and energy within his sleeping bag, and was fortunate enough to make it out of that. But it is scary to think that whenever your body starts to shut down from hypothermia, that if you potentially go to sleep, or you might not, you might wake up dead. The goat man has been vanquished. Nice, Copper. Good job. I felt much safer and even decided to go to the kitchen to get us some snacks. In the kitchen, I was cornered by my ex. Literally cornered. He right away became whispery. He right away started whispering the most awful things to me. I yelled for Morgan, and my ex grabbed my wrist and held on to me until Morgan came around the corner. Morgan escorted my ex out of the apartment. I did go speak to the police, but they said that there wasn't a lot they could do unless he did something to really hurt me. The last incident was almost at the end of the school year. I had been at the library studying for exams. Our apartment was a short walk, maybe 5 minutes to the school, and there were a lot of students coming and going. I was about a minute's walk from our house when I received a text from an unknown number. It said that one of my friends listed her name. It said that one of my friends, listed her by name, had been involved in some sort of altercation, and I needed to go to the police station to help her. There were a lot of details. There were a lot of details. Details. All of the details. There were a lot of details, and it seemed very real. Right away, I asked who it was. They said it was the girl's mother, and gave me her name, etc. I was in panic mode, worrying about my friend, so I turned and started walking to the station. The town wasn't very big, but the police station was a little ways away, probably another 5 to 7 minute walk from where I was. It was getting away from where most students lived, so there wasn't a lot of people walking around. Again, I was in panic mode and didn't think anything about it. As I got closer, I became aware of a car following very closely behind me. This is when I noticed that there was literally no one around now. The car pulled up near me, and the back window rolled down just enough so someone... The car pulled up near me, and the back window rolled down just enough for someone to begin throwing trash at me. I walked quicker and made a turn down a street that was too close for them to take. The car backed up and followed me. They now began speeding towards me and slamming on their brakes. They started flashing their high beams and yelling some pretty nasty remarks out the window. I'd had enough and started to run to the police station. The car ripped up next to me one more time, and 3 guys in hoodies jumped out. I pulled my phone out and started waving it around, yelling that I was streaming it online while calling the police. I was really only calling the police. That's when I heard Brenda's voice come from the car. "She isn't." This is when it hit me that the text was definitely a fake. When the group heard the 911 operator's voice, they jumped back into the car and took off. I went straight to the police station and reported what happened. No surprise, they said that the group hadn't really done anything and there was nothing they could do except issue a warning. Thankfully, my sister lived about an hour-and-a-half drive away, so I stayed with her for the rest of the semester and just drove to my classes. It was a pain, but I'm quite sure that it was better than whatever Brenda and her boyfriend had in store for me. How do you guys get like the loading text emoji? I don't even know where half these emojis come from. It's just funny. Darren Delaney says, checked out the best ever food review show. He travels the world trying fucked up foods, turtle's blood soup, and everything possible. It's awesome, and it's on YouTube. Interesting. What's it called? Has he tried the bat soup yet? I hear that's to die for. And Brian says, you wish the asteroid would hit Earth instead of passing by. I don't know, man. Like, there's a part of me lately where it's like, I don't really want the world to end. You know what I mean? Like I get it. Like I get that sense of malaise, that sense of nihilism that hits us whenever we feel like our world is down and we just think like we want everything to end for everybody. You know what I mean? But like, I don't really want Earth to end. You know, I don't really want anything cataclysmic to happen. I want to be happy. I want to live a good, full life. I want everybody else to live a good, full life. Whatever that is. I don't know. I feel like a bit, you know, like, because whenever this corona bullshit initially, like, dropped and all that news was kind of, like, hitting, the asteroid. Oh, there was, like, a, you know, a large asteroid. I forget what it was called, like Atlas or something like that. Or it was coincidentally enough, I think it was called, like, C-19, which, COVID-19, like, kind of random. But, you know, there's in the conspiracy realm, like they talk about random asteroids that are gonna, you know, come, you know, near Earth objects and shit like, or near, you know, Earth objects, or I forget what exactly it's called, but like they said it was gonna do like a perihelion or something, like perihelion around the sun, and then as it comes back, like getting heated up by the sun, it was gonna drop a lot of like sort of particulate and dust as it passes by Earth, saying that like us getting ramped up for the respirators and shit was or like wearing masks is trying to prepare us and give us time to be with our families, and you know, it's just all this weird shit. But you know, during that time frame, or even in the beginning of the corona stuff, when I'm just thinking of it more as like a some sort of bioweapon, or even just, you know, like a very randomly you know, generated pandemic or whatever the fuck, like, and I thought it was, you know, like you have places like on Reddit. Mr. Gooley with the 2 says Deep Impact versus Armageddon. Shoot, I don't even remember Deep Impact that much, but Armageddon was pretty good. I watched that at the drive-in one time. It was pretty cool. I always remember the scene where Ben Affleck is putting that like animal cracker in his girlfriend's panties. I don't know. I just remember that one because I was like a little kid. I was like, oh, nice. What a waste of a graham cracker or animal cracker. But yeah, it's like, it just made me think, like, it made me feel very vulnerable briefly. I remember hearing people like, you know, were getting engaged and shit like that because they're just like, oh, life is short, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of like related to that briefly. And, you know, you go on the different subreddits like our coronavirus, and I swear to God, like the top post is still going to be like something like, we're all fucking dead. I'm from the future and we're all fucking dead. Holy shit, we're all dead. We're all fucking dead. You know, like, it's just constant hysteria. You know, I remember one was like, it's AIDS. It's fucking full-blown airborne AIDS, dude. Oh my God. It's going to turn us into fucking Planet of the Apes. Jesus Christ. It's making monkeys smart, and they're going to throw our shit at us, but so fast that it blows our head off. You know, it's just like every possible way to just create hysteria and stuff. And I was definitely a victim of that, you know, sense of hysteria. And I hope not. I hope everyone here is not continuing to exist in that sort of fear, because it's not a good energy to exist in. You know what I mean? Like, and as more information has come out, I think you can create more of an educated perspective towards it. But that's neither here nor there, even though it is. But like basically, the one revelation that I took from it in a sort of philosophical sense, because I can't really give any objective perspective right now other than what you guys decide is your objective reality, is that like the idea that bad things happen to you, and that the world is not perfect, because we live in a very, I mean, many of the westernized nations, maybe some of the ones you're from, like, they're very civilized probably, and like they they a lot of the dangers are far, far away in a sort of like fantasy land that you think doesn't exist, but they're probably a lot closer than you realize. You know what I mean? And mortality is a lot closer than you realize. I mean, even listening to these stories, like at a moment's notice, someone could suddenly, demonstrate the depravity that's in their heart and act that out on you. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It made me realize, like, people talked about the zombie virus. People talk about like a big impact from an asteroid. Just fucking throwing out ideas, spitballing, Armageddons, and it just, to me, seems like such a pain in the ass. Like, Jesus criminy, like, I don't want to fucking have, like, even this is like inconvenient. I can't even you know what I mean? I can't go to my favorite place with my besties anymore. Like, even that's been like, all right, guys, this zombie apocalypse has gone a little too far. Grocery stores closing at 10. Are you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean? Like, so like if something actually really bad came down where like all of the fabric of society just gets completely shit on, like a lot of people think that that they desire that, like, hypothetical that they want to exist in that post-apocalyptic world. But I'm telling you right now that go exist anywhere else in the world where it's dog eat dog, you know what I mean? Where like, or go exist in Puerto Rico whenever the fucking hurricane shit on everyone's power, or not even that, it was like the power businesses didn't turn shit back on for like 6 months, you know what I mean? Because no one could pay. And it was like, you found out pretty quickly who your fucking friends are. You found out pretty quickly how hard life can be, how scary things can be, where your next, source of food or water. Because I've heard stories where it's like we're only 3 days without power before we literally descend into like monkey anarchy. And yeah, Joe Rogan is very right in the fact that the chimps will take over because we will become the chimps. I mean, not to say, but I'm just saying, like, my God, it would be such a pain in the ass, like, dealing with the zombie thing, because you probably are not a prepper, you know what I mean? Like, people make fun of preppers all the time, but holy shit, they were probably, sitting there thinking, I've got all the toilet paper and ammunition and generators, and I know how to start a fire, and, do you know how to start a fire? Do you know how to, like, plant a garden, or some shit like that? Do you know how to till a field? It just, you would be dead. You would be dead in 2 days. I would be dead in 2 days. And those are scary thoughts. And I'm not trying to fill you with scary thoughts. I'm just saying, like, when people say, like, oh, I wish the zombie apocalypse would come. No, the zombie apocalypse would be, you would not be part of the Walking Dead who just like conveniently gets to live out this like fantasy life of blowing zombie brains out. Like, you most likely would be having to watch your grandma's like stomach be ripped out and until she eventually comes for your throat. You know what I mean? Like, that's the sad reality of like any apocalyptic scenario, is that statistically we don't really stand a chance. Anyways, here's Wonderwall. Also, where did everybody get their memes? Like, there's so many meme channels that post such funny shit. And I'm like, where do I download this stuff? I also just found that there's a way you can like go, if like a Reddit video has popped up, and you can do like, if you type in u/v Reddit downloader, it'll send you a link over DM or as a reply, that will allow you to download the video with sound. Because sometimes Reddit's really weird about that kind of stuff, and I'm just looking for a good like meme plug, because like is TikTok the meme plug, or is like because I go into my Discord and I feel like nobody posts any memes. I'm looking for some dank shit, you know what I mean? Not some boomer shit. I'm looking for that sticky icky, yeah, I mean, bruh. Ski? Yeah, but Fry's got me on the hookup right now, but I gotta diversify my bonds. You feel me? The virus is hitting tomorrow night. Brian, where'd you hear that one? Alright, so this first sentence mentions let's read, so I have to make sure that it's not just some sort of with extra dialogue. I've been listening to the Let's Read podcast for a few years now, and I love listening to it before bedtime and while doing art. I'm about to share one of the scariest experiences I had. I'm not sure how scary this might be to others, but blah 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 blah. Okay. Back in 2014, I was around 17. Whoops. I was around 7. Back in 2014, I was around 17 to 18 years old, and I had been dating this guy for a few years, now an ex for unrelated reasons. We were around each other a lot, to the point where we pretty much lived together, but suddenly one of his friends asked my boyfriend at the time if he wanted to move together into his house, One of his friends asked my boyfriend at the time if he wanted to move together into this house. Sorry, this sentence is throwing me off. One of his friends asked my boyfriend at the time if he wanted to move together into this house his family... Okay. You get a bag of memes for me? It's a bit pricey for memes since I'm just going to be turning them over for free to the public. Bag of memes? Get your bag of memes. We were around each other a lot, to the point where we pretty much lived together, but suddenly, one of his friends asked my boyfriend at the time if he wanted to move together into this house his family had provided for him. Both of us studied outside our hometown, roughly 1.5 hours away, and this house happened to be a lot closer to both of our schools, so my boyfriend was very keen on the idea. I was also offered to move into this house with them, but since I had just turned 18, still a full-time student and unemployed, I couldn't afford to move away from my family yet. I could say I partially moved... Whoa! Oh shit, I'm twerking hard. What the fuck? Oh my goodness, Crystal with the $50 says, I don't know how late I am, but Hello, Crystal. Thank you. Oh my god. Clapping cheeks. Smacking spleeps. Is this thank you, Crystal. Holy cow. Get my blood flowing down to my booty cheeks there. You get your memes from iFunny. I feel that. I'm more on like the dark humor side, you know what I mean? Where it's just the edgy, like I'm looking for edgy shit, you know what I mean? And I know that sounds kind of like corny, but like, sometimes, have you ever like you've been following one meme page for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden you, come across another meme page that just fucking like hit differently, you know what I mean? And like, you know, you go back to the old meme page and all their memes like seem borderline corny, you know what I mean? And I think I actually just posted a meme recently that had like one of the iFunny oh, iFunny is edgy. Okay. I don't know why. I just hear like iFunny and I just assume it's trash because it sounds mainstream, but hey, edgelord. Yeah, I'm like Reaper. How do you get to see my pic? Go to my Discord. My friend actually updated the Discord link down below. I know some people were... I wonder if I still have it here. No, that's a Reddit story I just linked. And I have Discord closed right now, but how edgy. There's the dark side and the deep side. I'm talking full blown like 90-degree edges. I'm talking full blown blade sharp. I'm talking like katana blade. You like iFunny? Okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to look into that iFunny website we all talking about. That sounds pretty nice. But also any memes that like I don't really want to like post full on, but also just kind of want to like get it out there because or you guys have sent them to me, I will post in my story on that on at horny computer. But once again, Crystal, thank you for that huge $50 donation. That is very kind of you, and welcome. We are actually we've been going for about an hour and 20 minutes. Wow, that time flies, and we're on story number 4 of 10. So you are in it to win it. Don't you worry. We were around each other a lot, to the point where we pretty much lived together, but oh wait, fuck, where was I there, actually? I should have highlighted. Whatever, I'll just start from where We were around each other a lot, to the point where we pretty much lived together, but suddenly one of his friends asked my boyfriend at the time if he wanted to move together into this house his family had provided for him. Both of us studied outside of our hometown, roughly 1.5 hours away, and this house happened to be a lot closer to both our schools, so my boyfriend was very keen on the idea. I was also offered to move into this house with him, but since I had just turned 18, still a full-time student and unemployed, I couldn't afford to move away from my family yet. I could say I partially moved in, as it saved me from a lot of traveling. 3 hours traveling a day turned into about 1, and I could spend more time being productive. The moving became official, and the following weeks was dedicated to moving my boyfriend at the time's stuff, buying furniture and items he needed, and anything you need to do when you move. The house was located in a nice, calm neighborhood, had a view over a big field filled with friendly cows. It had 3 floors. It had 3 floors. Oh shit, I like heard voices, but I think it's my roommate talking on his phone to his grandma. He always has her on speakerphone when she calls, and it's pretty funny. Yeah, this is my second live stream of the week. I guess, well, Saturday was for Mondays, and this one's for tomorrow's video. But I'm definitely getting into the vibe of doing these more often, you know what I mean? Hannah, are these paranormal? There actually will be some paranormal here at the end, but the first couple are, well, the first quite a few, the majority of them are like just the true scary story stuff, but wink wink, one of them you might just like. It had 3 floors where the 2 bottom floors both were fully decked with a living room, kitchen, and bathroom each, and the top floor had 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. We lived on the first floor, while our friend that we moved in with had a younger brother who moved into the second floor. The third floor was shared with each of our bedrooms. The house was old but relatively nice and had good size to it. Additionally to that, our floor had a sauna, which, at least to us, seemed like luxury. After some weeks, we were finally done moving, and we decided to host a party to celebrate this new chapter of our lives. Our friend's younger brother on the second floor decided to host a party on the same date. Me, my boyfriend, Maya with the 10 says, "Take care, Joel. Thank you again for providing some kind of solace within this coronavirus BS. Stay well and keep up the good work. Much love to you and Pradeep." Thank you, Maya. Hope you have a good night. Thank you so much for your kind donations. I really appreciate it. That's subtle, hinty. Joel's hallucinating. Wait, what did I see? I'm seeing shit, man. Oh boy. What language does Pradeep speak? I think Portuguese usually, because he doesn't respond to my shit ever. I was about to pet him, but I was like, fuck, that's just gonna like start a cascade of events I'm not ready for. Which aka means he's gonna like be like, ooh, he wants to pet me, I better come get more attention, and then if he doesn't give me attention, then start smacking into things. Hey Vixa, we'll see you in a bit. Me and my boyfriend at the time and our friend hosted a closed party. Legal drinking age in my country is 18, only inviting our closest friends. We started with a chill drinking game to get the mood going, while listening to diverse rock and alternative music. Meanwhile, the guy living on the second floor hosted an open party. An open party. Mr. Gooley says, with the two, says, "What is a foreskin?" I'm not sure. I think that's something that gets taken from the Jedi when they're very, very young. Joel's whipped. Who am I whipped by? My cat? Probably.
Hey, listen.
Callie's got extended to mid-May. Our lockdown ends, quote-unquote, on the 30th. Anyway, bye, everyone. Take care. Hey, see you, Lena? Brian, you just told me that the world's ending tomorrow from a meteorite. You can't have 17 more days of lockdown. Meanwhile, the guy living on the second floor hosted an open party. It didn't take long before the first problems started to occur. The party upstairs had so many attending they started to come down to our floor to use the bathroom, trying to hang out with us and stealing our drinks. We just started by telling them that this floor was off limits and that they had to go back upstairs. Our friend decided to go up to his younger brother to talk to him about it, but was shocked to see and hear what was happening. People were breaking things, harassing our neighbors, throwing trash into people's gardens. Not very unlike any party with drunk people, but we still thought it was starting to get out of hand. After a little, I had to go up to our bedroom on the third floor to grab a few things. The third floor was filled with people, and I had to get firm and tell them that there was nothing for them to do on the third floor and that they had to leave. Message went pretty much unheard. Suddenly this girl, probably about my age, came up the stairs crying her eyes out, walked right past me and entered the second floor guy's bathroom. I decided to follow her, and I immediately started to get scared. The room was full of smoke, had a small fire in one of the corners. People were either running out or just sitting there like nothing. A group of people tried to comfort the crying girl, and the entire situation started to get bizarre. I ran back down to our party and told my ex and our friend about what I had just witnessed. They both ran up, with me coming up backing them, and started to throw people out. Even while actively trying to throw people out, people kept trying to enter the room as if though there was nothing going on. We managed to stomp out the fire, open the windows to air out the tightly packed smoke, and finally, the third floor was empty. We came to the conclusion that this party had to end, and we went to the second floor, yelling that we had called the police to scare people away. At this point, we actually hadn't called them yet. To us, it seemed like the only way we could get our point firmly enough for people to get up and leave. Most people left, not minding it too much, but there was one guy who was extremely unhappy for it. Started to fight our friend, and eventually we got him out. Finally, everyone was gone besides a few people that were going to stay there, and we went back down to our own party. We decided to make it into more of a chill evening with games and music more than a party at this point, and even though we were a bit stressed about what had happened so far, we continued the evening like nothing. Suddenly our friend's younger brother came running down, telling us that the guy who didn't want to leave had called a group of people and they were on their way to beat us up. This wasn't just any group of people. They were well known around the nearby towns and had a very sketchy reputation related to drugs and gang activity, and if anyone had enough beef with anyone, they were the people they would contact. We immediately freaked out and called the police. The police didn't seem to care at all and told us that they would eventually send a few cops if they were in the area. Apparently nobody was in the area. As time passed, we called them several times to try and communicate how serious this was and how scared we were. With lack of police response, we decided we had to prepare ourselves for the upcoming events. Me and the two other girls at the party were told to go into the sauna to hide. With us, one of the other girls' boyfriends. One of her boyfriends. Ooh, hiya, Georgie. Most online gamers are lonely. Hey, Slim, don't tell anybody our secrets, okay? Still in lockdown in the UK. Man, I don't even know. I think the annoying part is, and I'm going to have to look into it, is like just how ambiguous most of it is. Like what data, like I get it, better safe than sorry, makes sense, but like what data are we looking for? I'm sure there is somewhere someone with like a specific data, but like all of the sort of governmental processes are so sort of like different from one another. But so it's just like, you know, I assume they're all kind of going off of a centralized source of information, which most likely would be like the CDC or the WHO, things of that nature. But it's like, what's their, guidelines, their recommendations? Like, have they handled this well? Has this gone well? Like, how does the data collect? There's so many questions you have sometimes, and it's frustrating because it's like, I think everybody's so confused, you know what I mean? You drove into a hole. That's funny. I don't know. I don't even know. Did anyone picture a Home Alone style getting ready montage? 6 months of no sunlight. That would be weird. I guess you could go live in Alaska or somewhere up north or something and experience that. Bra Bros. Oh, there he is. Everybody say hi to Bra Bros. He keeps wanting me to read, but can he tell that I'm busy reading other things right now? Oh no, Hannah. I see everything. It's like the eyes of Sauron. Ron. Brob, I'm not doing it. I'm never doing it. You have to read it to me. You have to make up a nice little audiobook. Do an audio memo over the phone. With us, one of the other girls' boyfriends came to help protect us. The other boys at our party started to gather items they could use to defend themselves. Planks, curtain rods, or any long, hard objects was their choice of defense, and when ready, they started to station themselves at the various entrances the house had. The few of us who were in the sauna continued to call the police to tell them that we had gone into hiding. Some of us were ready for an attack, and that we'd really, really like to get the police here. They finally told us that they were going to send someone for sure after we had called them over 40 times in the last few hours, but it was almost too late. We were sitting in the sauna, freaking out for what seemed like an eternity at this time. Since I was hiding in the sauna, I was not there to witness what went down outside, but being told this over and over from all the different guys, I think I had a good overview of how it went down. Suddenly, a random guy who attended the party earlier came running to the door yelling for help. He kept knocking on the door, ringing the doorbell and yelling. After a little, one of the boys concluded that he was probably chased by the gang coming for us, and we had to let him in. As soon as we opened the door, a different person who was out of sight suddenly punched him hard on the face and knocked him down. The gang was already standing there, ready to enter an attack, and around 10 people entered the house. They were equipped with knives, brass knuckles, and other various melee weapons and started to fight our boys. While fighting, our boys yelled that the police were on the way. They kept on attacking as if they knew that the police here were... They kept on attacking as if they knew that the police here weren't any good and there was nothing they could do. Finally, sirens could be heard in the distance and the gang decided to leave. As they left, one of them stopped for a moment, telling them that they'll be back and the house will be fully ablaze. The feeling of relief I felt can't be described when familiar faces entered the sauna. We were Oh, sorry. It just seemed kind of weird. If the asteroid hits, you can wish me a happy birthday. I'm turned 28 on the 2nd. Leo, happy birthday. I hope you enjoy your last birthday on Earth. Long, hard objects. Giggity, yeah. They whipped out their erect wieners. That would be a good way to keep them back, keep them away. Just run at them naked, you know? Get back! Get back, I got a boner. The feeling of relief I felt can't be described when familiar faces entered the sauna we were hiding in, telling us that it was over and we could come out of hiding. But it was still too early to celebrate it being over. While most of the boys got away with minor injuries and cuts, 2 of us got sent to the hospital with severe concussions, broken limbs, and potentially internal bleeding. The police apologized for not taking us seriously. They managed to catch a few of the gang people while they were walking away from the scene. We also had the name of the guy who called them and informed the police. We wrapped things up, filed our police report, and called our parents to come pick us up. We refused to stay at the house even for one more night. We all camped at one of our friends' houses and tried to calm down with some games and movies there, but it was clear that we all had been very scared of what went down. The 2 guys who were sent to the hospital both luckily survived and got compensation from the guys who were caught, including the guy who called them. All of the ones that got caught got away with doing social services and paying compensation, but if you ask me, some of them should have gotten stricter punishment. To this day, I still imagine how the scenario could have gone if the police didn't take us seriously in the end. The beatings could have been much more severe, and not to even mention, what if they were to find the 3 helpless girls hiding in the sauna with no way to escape? I'm forever thankful that this didn't end up worse than it did. The Apocalypse. I just watched an episode of The Office, The Stare Apocalypse. I don't know what the one girl says. It only happens, this said this is like a once in 100-year event, an ellipse. How absolutely dare you? How absolutely dare you, Chaotic Sands? How absolutely dare you? Vixa, you have missed, well, you pretty much, this last story was this people had a nice big apartment house to themselves that apparently had a sauna. And they had a party. They had 2 parties, actually. The people upstairs had one too, but then it was getting out of hand, and then someone like lit something on fire. And then I guess people who were mad that they got kicked out, they called their like gang member friends to come like beat them up or something at the house for kicking them out. And then the people showed, like, this was kind of scary, the fact that they pretended to be hurt. Somebody pretended to be hurt to get them to open the door, and then somebody else came out of nowhere and punched the dude that let him in the face, and then they broke in and started fighting, and then the cops came, and then, you know, they broke it up or whatever. And yeah, so that's pretty nuts. Anthony Payne had become a full-grown pizza. Thank you, Anthony. Welcome to the Buttersock cult. The Office is really the best. It's so funny because in season 9, some of the episodes kind of like hit me in a weird way, but then all of a sudden, like, some of the different episodes will hit in a different way. Hey, Brian. Brian Jemison, hold the shizzer bizzers, bro. 75 buckaroonies from Brian. Says, really enjoying your content. Thanks so much for all your hard work. Much love. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for the huge 75 buckaroonies. That is incredibly kind of you, my friend. Holy poops. Holy poop and pee is what I gotta say to that. I need to grow my booty a little bit more, or like, maybe not necessarily grow it, because it's like, I do a lot of, I'm pretty, I got a strong squat, but I think what I need to do is eat more like pizza and hope that it kind of like delivers that. I wonder if you can kind of circumnavigate where your fat gets distributed in your body. Maybe we could do some sort of genetic testing to orient most of my pizza fat to go right to my buttocks, because then you guys could actually hear me clapping my cheeks in a sort of twerkable fashion. You joined because I say horny computer. You're great, Broham. Thank you, Anthony. Horny computer. Well, go follow my horny computer Instagram, and you'll have at least 1 or 2 laughs, but that's it. Carbohydrates, they are hey, listen, Cam with the 2 says, "You're my favorite. Here's a banana sticker." Thank you, Mr. Cam, and welcome back. He's talking about his butt. Didn't Facebook or something say that they were getting rid of the peach thing and like the eggplant emoji or some shit? What a bunch of prudes. Facebook sucks. I haven't posted on there in forever, but I recently started posting again just to kind of like, I don't know, have some more eyeballs, or because I think like YouTube's algorithm, whenever you post a video, like if you get shared on Twitter, if your videos get shared on like Facebook or something, it kind of helps you a little bit, but who fuck knows? It pretty much comes down to primarily whether a video gets a lot of views is whether a large percentage of your viewership views that video, so then it suggests it out to more people. And I think like the majority of people that are watching me, like it makes up most of the views, but I almost feel like I really need to start focusing on, I don't know, the theme content more specifically, because that seems what most people are interested in. But I don't know. I really have no idea how to grow the YouTube channel anymore, because it's been like stagnant, and stagnant in the sense of like subscriber growth and viewership. It's been stagnant for like 2 or 3 years now, which is obviously, still good enough to keep me super alive, which thank you guys so much for your support. But it's just like so strange, like as far as like some channels, they get like 1,000 or 2,000 subs a day. Like how do you do that? How doth you do it? Can I do an Irish accent? Not very well. I sound like a freaking leprechaun. Am I single? You're like flawlessly perfect. Thank you, Shining Ones. Thank you. Herbert with a 2 says, "Bubs here. Just joined whiskey and story time." Oh, whiskey time. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother. What kind of whiskey you sipping on? It's so funny. I went to, just to like flex. It was like just to flex. I went to this place called Local Whiskey, or rather, they sell like local whiskey stuff, and like they had like a $90 like whiskey option, and I got it. Because I was with my friend. He was in town visiting, and I said, and I normally don't really spend a lot of money. Like I don't know. I just don't do it. I don't really have anything that I really desire to spend money on per se, other than like really objective bullshit. And yeah, I was like, fuck it, let's get some expensive ass whiskey. And I swear to God, it did not taste any different than the fucking like $13 whiskey. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, there better have been some fucking Mayan gold floating around in that shit, but not that I don't think there was. In fact, it may have just like expedited the process of me getting esophageal cancer from that one sip. Maybe that's what it is. It's actually more dangerous, so they make it expensive to keep you away from it. But fuck that, dude. I ain't no bitch. Jasmine P with a 10 says, "What do you use to edit your recording?" So I use a program called Sony Vegas, which kind of clips all together my mess ups. I just like cut and paste all those together real fast, chopped and screwed, and then I go into, after that's done, I render that as a WAV file, because it doesn't for some reason have like MP3 available, but it doesn't really matter, because then I bring it into Audacity, and then in Audacity, the 10 seconds of silence that you might hear me recording before we start reading stories, I use that to kind of create a sound profile that helps to remove the background noise of the overall audio, which then I think makes it sound a lot better. And then I export that, post that on Patreon. So that's only $1 a month if you guys want to join Patreon. I'm also thinking about adding some new content. It's $1 for early access on there, but for just, the typical narrations and stuff. But I was thinking about maybe making like a $5 option where I read like an additional creepypasta a month, and then maybe a $10 option, or maybe even 20 for a little bit of some a little bit of steamier content, if you catch my drift. Wink wink. But at the same time, I'm not sure if I'm feel like going full on prostitute quite yet. Not sure if I've reached rock bottom. Ooh. Cam with the 2 says, what do you think about B-Buster? B-Buster's great. I think, back in the day, I think I actually kind of borrowed some of my cadences. Like the way that I would transition between, like, you might not even notice this, but sometimes, like, as I'm reading, I kind of get caught up on something, but just the way that my cadence of my voice worked, I noticed that some of his transitioned well, like, to make it sound like he's not, like, kind of, it flowed really well. So I kind of borrowed a little bit of my cadence from him, and, my narration style is a little bit of nuances I borrowed from B-Busta, and he puts out a lot of content too, so I respect that he's on that grind. And the one unfortunate thing with B-Busta that I recalled, as far, because I like to observe other narrators and see kind of like how their channels evolve and things like that, and kind of see how like things go down for them. And one of the lame aspects that I felt really bad for was, like, whenever the adpocalypse happened, he probably was one of the top, like, true scary story narrators. I think at the time it was like Mr. Nightmare set the trend, and then it was like a lot of us, like, people like trying to find their own within this world of YouTube. And you had, Corpse Husband and Lazy Masquerade and B-Buster, figuring, essentially becoming some of the top narrators and getting, a lot of views because of that. And B-Busta actually ended up leaving YouTube kind of for a while because of the adpocalypse. I think he kind of jumped the gun on that because he went over to Twitch, and because Twitch kind of like offered him this, I wouldn't say sweetheart deal, but it was like they said, like, you come over and stream with us, post videos on here and stuff, and meet a certain requirement of like subscribers or some shit, and we'll give you access to our partnership program, like, right out the gate. And he did that for a while, and the unfortunate part on YouTube is if you stop uploading, it really depends on, like, the motivation that your audience has to stick with you. Like, certain personalities, I think, can manage it. Like, when Mr. Nightmare posts, if he hasn't posted for a month, he can get those, that pop in viewership, that takes him to 1 million views on a video. Or in a similar fashion, like, Corpse Husband doesn't post for 16 months or whatever, and, like, he posts like an animation, and then that can get him to 1 million. You know what I mean? So it's like there's certain personalities, I think, that can, like, carry pretty hard. But, like, whenever B-Busta stopped posting, it's almost as if though he was abandoning that audience a little bit on YouTube, not like purposefully, but just like saying that it seemed as if though the advertisers are bailing out of this and YouTube is dead or something. But I think it was just a rough patch because of, like, politics, and, like, then the advertisers came back, and then B-Busta returned to his normal scheduled programming there, and it definitely, I could tell, took a hurt on his viewership, which really made me feel bad because I had also kind of gone through different things on YouTube that it kind of hold you back, you know what I mean, as far as, like, the preferential treatment that the algorithm can kind of give you at certain times. And so I'm glad to see that he's doing well and has found his rhythm again on YouTube. He's a great guy, honestly is. Thomas S with the 2 says, do you have a fan mail P.O. box or something? I don't, Tom. I don't. Mainly just because I'd be afraid people would probably send me, like, bags of dog shit or something. Not that they would, but, like, I remember watching this one German streamer, and, like, he would open stuff that people sent, and he got this bag, this tightly, this tight bag, and it was hard to open, so he used his fingers to kind of peel it open, and then it had, like, a kind of gross material in it that he, like, sniffed, and it was literal feces in the bag, and he was just like, oh my god, like, you know, fucking immediately started gagging and throwing up. And I was just like, okay, never gonna do a PO box, fuck that shit. Like, nothing anybody could send me ever would motivate me to potentially give someone that opportunity. I guess, you know, iDubbbz does his whole like thing, you know, but I mean, some of his stuff that he gets in the mail is like, wouldn't he get like skunk piss and I don't know, just random shit like that. I'm just not fucking worth my time, you know. But though I do appreciate the kind gesture if you were considering sending something nice. Herbert Small with the $2 says, Heaven Hill, $8. Try Old Granddad Bonded, $20. What's that? Oh. Wait, is these suggestions for the hot and heavy shit I should read? Cam Girl Joel, yeah, no, for real. Alex Svoboda with the 2 says, we want your OnlyFans, Joel, yes. I don't even know. I keep hearing OnlyFans mentioned all the time, and obviously I think it was kind of made popular by, you know, iDubbbz's recent video, or at least made more popular. But Mr. Nightmare has his 30 ads. Does Mr. Nightmare really have that many ads on his videos? I feel like they're so short that how would he even have enough room for ads, you know what I mean? It's like he can put them in the beginning of the video and then... Thomas with 2 says, well, no local whiskey from my hometown. Yeah, does your area produce any sort of locally made whiskey or anything like that? I guess not. You just said that you don't, but that would be cool. I like that people, you know, kind of have that, you know, in the same way people have like local wines and local beers and all that kind of bullshit. Just a bunch of hipster schnobbies. The Shining Ones with the 2 says, best channel ever. My kids and I listen to you every night. Maybe do some Dogman stuff. Interesting, yeah. I don't know much about Dogman. There was a cool, if you remember that show on Netflix, Love, Death, and Robots, they had like a episode that I felt like was really like, I wondered if it was based on some shit that they heard on creepypastas, but because Mr. X Dreams used to do videos about like dogmen that were in the military that he had seen or someone had seen in the military, and then in this video it was like they were in Afghanistan fighting, you know, some sort of terrorist group or whatever the fuck, and like one of the super soldiers they had was one that could change into a werewolf, and I thought that was such a cool idea, and I was like, wait a second, I've seen this somewhere before, you know. And so that show is so fucking good. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix, called Love, Death, and Robots. It's all like animated from different animators and really cool stories. Some of them are comedic, but a lot of them are like just really awesome, like out there sci-fi ideas, and some of the coolest shit I've seen on Netflix probably. Shell Bell with the 5 says, just what I needed while at work. Oh, nice. Hope you have a good shift, Shell Bell. And Vixa with the $2 says, get that booty money. Oh, yeah. Stick it between my G-string, baby girl. Okay, let me let my cat out right quick. Oops.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen.
Thomas with the 5 says, yeah, it's called Cold Cock Whiskey. It's a herbal whiskey. It's amazing, especially with Dr. Pepper's. Oh, that's a great idea. Since I love Diet Dr. Pepper, like mixing that with whiskey sounds amazing. Jen with the 5 says, thanks, Joel. Does it matter if they watch the videos all the way through? I mean, watch time definitely helps your channel. You know what I mean? As far as like, you know, whether or not YouTube like recommends it out. I think for the most recent video, it seemed like people were sticking through the video like on an average of 30 minutes, which 50% watch time is not terrible. You know what I mean? Like, and, but you know, it's up to you guys, obviously. If you want to like have it in the background and let it go, I mean, hey, I'm always open to that. Herbert Small with the 2 says, whiskey. Hot Rod Red. Dude, Hot Rod was actually something I watched my senior year of college. on the, I guess Frosh week, the week before classes actually started. And man, that was a cool time because I felt like I had nothing to do, so my roommates showed me a bunch of sweet shit and movies. And Hot Rod was so funny. That guy is so funny. I still need to see that movie he made where he's like a super rock star character, because there's a song that my friend plays from that. It was so fucking funny. I'm gonna live forever. Cam with a 5 says, you both are amazing. Thank you. It sounded like he went through a lot, especially now with what's going on in the world. We all need to come together. Absolutely. Absolutely. And he's definitely been a really positive guy in that regard. And I think he really cares about his community too. He puts a lot of effort into his social medias and interacting with people and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. Carmen with a 5 says, love your channel. Thanks for the spoops. Thank you, Carmen. You are more than welcome.
Listen.
And our man Jensen with the 5 says, I've learned that cheap toilet paper can't handle my wiping. Good thing you can wash your fingers. I know. Don't sniff them afterwards or you may vomit. Jensen, what's poppin', my dude? You've been how Jensen said he made his first he recently got his channel monetized, which congrats. Round of applause for Mr. Jensen. I'm really happy for you, broski. And got his first hundo buckaroonies from streaming on here, which is pretty baller, you know what I mean? Especially like starting out on YouTube, you're just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Are you having any future streams, Jensen, coming up? I'm a 22-year-old female in Southend, England. This seems like a good place to share my experience. So for starters, my house is a relatively new build, circa 1960s. My dad bought it from the original owners in the 80s and has been here ever since. When my mom fell pregnant with me, there was no longer enough room, so there was an extension built to the side, mid-90s, and it's that newer part that has ways felt... Oops. Hey, listen. And it's that newer part that has always felt uncomfortable to me. Also worthy to note is that now, it's just my dad and I living here. He works long, long days, and I do shift work, so it's quite often I'm home alone for long periods of time. As a young child, I remember having vivid nightmares most nights, and I was terrified of sleeping in my room. Now uncommon, I know. Or not uncommon, I know. Oops. Christopher Polanski with the 5 says, thanks for all the spookiness you provide for our community, Joel. Also, I recommend Hibiki Harmony Whiskey. It's from Japan. It's delicious. Dude, I think that was like one of the whiskeys. No, maybe it wasn't. I remember like PewDiePie had drank some sort of Japanese whiskey, but I wondered if that was the one that I drank, because I think the one, I was looking for the Japanese one, but they said they were out of it at the time, so that's unfortunate. But thank you, Chris. Wonder how much whiskey... I don't drink very often. I wonder, like, how much whiskey I can handle before I'm, like, tipsy, topsy-turvy. As a young child, I remember having vivid nightmares most nights, and I was terrified of sleeping in my room. Not uncommon, I know. But my fear was quite specific to certain dolls I had in the loft space above my bedroom. I would see the dolls move, again, product of fear most likely, but was too scared to move them into the loft because I'd hear them scratching around up there. As an adult, I have an interest in the spiritual, but mostly try to look at things scientifically. Now, for my real experiences... Now, my real experiences started a couple of years ago. They happen almost in sequence. The first experiences was... Dude, I could use some ramen right now. Actually, today I was kind of using as a fasting day, mainly just because I kind of felt kind of... You ever, like, feel gross, you know what I mean, from, like, you're eating the day prior? And I know it sounds weird, but like honestly, if you're looking to lose weight and or you're looking to just kind of like detox a little bit, like fasting is a very apparently very healthy thing to do. It helps your stomach to sort of come down off its sort of inflammation. It helps to release hormones that are better to repair your body. So, and you just feel lighter and better. You know what I mean? So, I am kind of fasting right now, but getting a big bowl of ramen soup sounds freaking amazing because I don't know why I'm like craving a lot of like warm salt. Bloating does sook. It sooks a lot. It's funny, like in the past people would say like, oh, you don't want to like put your body into starvation mode because, you know, it'll just make you add fat faster. And it's like that's not what happens. Like that's literally like a myth. It's primarily just based in like your hormones, like your insulin response, and then whenever you're fasting, it's like there's a correlation between like your HGH and your body's ability to sort of actually burn that fat, which is pretty cool. But insulin seems to be the enemy, and you definitely don't want to like release insulin too much because eventually you'll start to develop sort of diabetic like tendencies within your body. Not that they can't be reversed by diet for sure. Thomas with a 5 says, sounds like a good live reading to do to find out how much you can handle. I think it'd be a great to listen to. Yeah, oh man. I mean I don't get like real wicked wild drunk, but man, I do kind of wonder how I would get, you know what I mean? Yeah, surprisingly, you know, the annoying thing about nursing, and you know, like that sounds like nursing talk, but it's actually not really like, is that a lot of nursing is just kind of like it's all just sort of pharmaceutical based, you know what I mean? Like you pretty much just kind of go with the mainstream science and roll with that, you know what I mean? They would much rather, you know, than try to like correct your diabetes, just sort of like fill you with insulin and then try to like correct your fluctuating blood sugars with like, oh, here's some orange juice, and okay, here's more insulin, oh, here's some more orange juice, oh fuck, I can't keep you in, you know, you're all over the place, rather than actually have you try to like fix your diet and shit like that. I don't know, it's just a lot of nursing to me from my experiences was like I was primarily just like, you never really used your brain a whole lot other than maybe recognizing patterns in health or certain situations to then just sort of alert somebody above you or whatever, a doctor or whatever. But like most of the time nursing, the way that I experienced it was that you're sort of just like a machine operator, as bad as that sounds, or like at least in my nursing, it was almost like to a degree like an overglorified server at a restaurant. You know, you just keeping people comfortable getting what they need and just trying to like multitask a lot while maintaining like a fun, bubbly personality or whatever. But that's not to say that there aren't different variations to nursing. It's just a lot of the times you're definitely kind of just going along with the mainstream science, which, you know, I feel like food is medicine first and foremost. And Asherella with the 5 says, this is a bribe. Oh shoot, what for, Asherella? What for? Herbert Small with the 2 says, let's drink. Yeah, no, that would be a fun. What would be the motivation? I would have to take like shots every time there's like a certain amount donated. Is that kind of like a pretentious way to think about it, or is it like based on the number of mistakes I make in the video? I'm not really sure, because you guys could get me pretty topsy-turvy. What if I just like passed out and woke up 8 hours later and my stream is like still going? Cam with the 2 says, do you like Jameson whiskey? I agree with fasting. You know, I'm it's like drinking it, it's definitely, you know, it's fine, you know what I mean? But I kind of want like a sweet whiskey, you know what I mean? Something sweet, as even though I know that that's not necessarily something you come across, but is like something maybe that has a sort of like a tinge of honey to it would be nice. Oh, Asherella wants me to tell people to check out her channel. Tell people to check out my channel and sub. Everybody go check out and sub to Asherella. She is there on screen, original Asherella. She's been part of the Discord for quite a while, and she what kind of content have you been posting lately, Asherella? And so the mistakes would just skyrocket after the alcohol intake, though. All that'd be bad. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it would just compound upon itself. It would be. That's how Camelot does every gold donation as a shot. Who's Camelot? Is that a Twitch streamer playing video games? Oh, Jack Daniel's honey. There you go. That's. I must have had that like logged in my brain like subconsciously to like just know that there was honey involved. I wonder if it's how. Let's see. Jack Daniel's honey calories, just to check, or like sugar. Calories in Jack Daniel's Tennessee honey liqueur. Well, there's like, yeah, there's 6 grams of carbohydrates, whereas I think, which is just straight sugar, and I don't really want to do that per se. Let's see, honey whiskey without sugar. Is that possible? Internet? Alright, so we got Jack Daniel's honey whiskey. Oh, you have to be 18 years or 21 or older to enter. Whoa, what is this, a porn site? Fuck you. Just kidding. Whatever, we'll figure that out later. Anyways, probably should get back to this. Spooky stories to tell in the dark with my friends, my 600 friends closest to me. Just a spoonful of honey. Just a spoonful, Harry. Just one spoonful will knock me out. Brothers Grimm. Wow, okay, you've been listening since you were 13 and now currently 17 turning 18. That's buck wild, dude. That's weird to think that I've been on YouTube that long. Because that's, I mean, from the ages of 13 to 18, that's like some serious like developmental, you know, time frame, like as far, because I remember me being 13, being in 7th grade, to me being 18, being a senior in high school. I was like a completely different person, you know what I mean? So the fact that I'm able to keep you interested in this kind of content for that long of a time and through those kind of changes is pretty baller. So thank you for sticking with me. As a young child, I remember, okay. All right, wait, not uncommon as an adult. I have an interest in this happened in sequence. Okay. Now, my real experiences started a couple of years ago. They happened almost in sequence. The first experience was when I was home alone in my room. I could hear the floorboards outside my room creaking like someone was walking around. I assumed my then boyfriend had come in and was trying to scare me. Not to be a killjoy, I decided to pretend I hadn't heard it and ignored it. A few minutes later, I was still hearing it, so I opened my bedroom door to see what was going on, and of course, there was no one. Almost as I opened the door, the creaking stopped. That happened twice more over the next couple of hours. I rang my then boyfriend, who was at home, just to make sure, then went downstairs to make sure I didn't have an intruder. Getting into my kitchen, there was a knife on the counter. I know absolutely that it wasn't there before, as I had done the washing up earlier in the day, and the knife wasn't even one of the items I'd washed. Sensing it was some kind of sign, I kept the knife with me until my dad got home. Roughly a week after, the start was the same as before. Hearing footsteps, no one there. I went downstairs, and this time, 5 of our cupboard doors were wide open. A few days after, my dad is really strict about certain things, and ever since I have had a key, it's been drilled into me to double lock the front door when I leave the house. I've never not done it. In this experience, my dad came home from work whilst I was out to find the front door wide open. He was mad at me, and I insist that, like always, I lock that door. At this point, I'm beginning to worry we have someone living in the loft or garage or something. I've asked my dad to do checks around the house, and of course, we don't have anyone else living here. Now, I was home alone and on the phone with my mom. We were chatting, and I'm sitting in the dining room, the newer part of the house, and she suddenly says, "Who's there with you?" I say, "No one." She says, "No, seriously, who's there? I hear a man's voice." I'm completely alone, but she's so convinced that she just heard a man talk into the speaker that she drives to my house straight away and does a check for me. My mom is the last person who would play a prank like that. She would never try to scare me. My then boyfriend is an absolute non believer. I'm kind of on the fence, always trying to come up with an explanation, but he straight up tells me I'm stupid and shuts me off whenever I've told him what's happening. One morning, I go to work when he stayed over, leaving him in my house alone. He hears a man whistling coming from downstairs and naturally. Sorry. I just choked on my own spit. Sorry about that. Cam with the $2 says, "Have you seen the movie Gantz?" Oh, I just saw it. No, I haven't seen that. What's that? What's that about? I haven't even heard of it. Normally, I hear of movies and stuff, but what is that about? Papa Pulp with the $10 says, "Wish you could stay, but I have to work tomorrow." Oh, I'm sorry, Papa. I hope you have a lovely sleep-a-rooney. Bra Bros wants to know if anyone is playing Last Oasis on Steam. I got to watch Bra Bros play that a little bit here. He was smacking quite a few monkeys to death. Not the nicest thing to do, but it looks interesting. I just choked on my own spit. On Daddy's spit. Vixa drink Vodka backwards? Vodka backwards? How do you drink it backwards? Bianca. Hi, Bianca. What's up? We love you too. Oh yeah, Hannah, you were up well beyond your bedtime. What is the sacrifices that were made? Someone mouth to mouth resuscitate me. Suck the spit out of his throat. He hears a man whistling coming from... Whoops. He hears a man's whistling coming from downstairs and naturally assumes my dad came home early. Fuck, why do I suck? Who's my favorite scary storyteller? Probably this guy. He doesn't do it anymore. Or actually I haven't checked in a long time. Let me check. His name was Night Terrors. And he had a very deep, booming, manly voice. Night Terrors. Narration. What the fuck? I have to guess. See, whenever you don't have a unique name, it's tough to be it's tough to show up. Yeah, there he is. Let's see. When's the last time he made something? 2 years ago. Fucking hell. The Garden of Delights, a supernatural creepypasta story. So, I think the one before that wait. Okay, I don't think I've watched that one, so maybe I'll have to check it out. But you know what I could do? I could just play it right now and let you guys listen to it. I fucking love this guy. He doesn't post anymore, but he was a badass. And he actually he was featured in one of my videos a while back. It's a World War One creepypasta. Oh, wait, here it is.
You really shouldn't worry.
Can you guys hear that?
I know it's scary, terrifying even being alone after so long, but it'll pass. All things do. And then it will be better. You'll see. Kira looked quizzically across her kitchen table at her older brother, Tony. He'd aged in the 4 years since she'd last seen him. His now receding hair flecked.
He copyrights me. Yeah, that'd be funny. He's such a nice guy. I think he's an older gentleman. And just a great voice. Let me just link. I'm gonna link it. If you guys, yeah, he sounds like a movie. He really does. I'm trying to think who he sounds like as a star, but as a famous person. But yeah, Vincent Price for sure. It's god damn, he's so good. And unfortunately, it's so hard to take off. You find this raw talent out there sometimes, and they just don't have the sort of networking skills, the marketing skills, the sort of metadata skills of YouTube sometimes to kind of get your name out there. And a lot of it is a game, to a degree. He sounds like the intro guy from the Special Victims. Yeah, he would be very good for that. But there's something about his stories where it's they're kind of like a slow burn, if you know what I mean. they're not like in your face scary, but I think he writes all of them, and they're just like this like really slow burn. His voice like fits it perfect, and you just like you pick up on every little nuance of like what these characters are going through, and it's just it's a fucking like take you away on a rainy day kind of experience, and like you just lose track of time with it. It's pretty cool. It says Night Terrors, and basically if you do just type in Night Terrors narration and sort by like channels, he has a picture of like a moon in the clouds there, and I linked it there. But if you guys specifically want to know more about him or need a link to it, just shoot me a message or hit me up on Discord there, and I shall get back to reading this spooky story. It won't let you click the link. Okay. Yeah, so Night Terrors narration, sort by channel, and you will find him. He has a picture of a moon behind a kind of cloudy night. And pretty badass. He hears a man's whistling coming from downstairs and naturally assumes it's my dad, who came home early. He decides to go downstairs to say hello, still hearing the whistling as he's coming down, and there's no one there. That skeptic of a man left my house immediately. My mom believes about the same amount as I do, so I've kept her up to date. I don't bother telling my dad anything, as he's another to brush it off. My brother, who doesn't live with us, is another complete skeptic, so I don't tell him either. My mom decides to tell my brother about it, unbeknownst to me. She always felt anxious and off in this house when she lived here, but never said anything and decided to ask my brother about it when he lived here. My brother has 2 stories to tell from living here. Fuck. Asherelle, if you fall asleep, good night. My brother has 2 stories to tell from living here. He lived here up until he was about 15, and since he started school, most nights he would roll over and face the wall because a pencil on his bed table would rhythmically roll back and forth like someone was pushing it. It never did it any other times, and it's something that stuck in his brain as a kid. And this is the big one. Hold your horses. When I was 2, and he was 10, we went on holiday to visit family in Mauritius. Mauritius? What the fuck is that? Mauritius. How old am I? I'm 29. I'll be 30 in June. Herbert with a 2 says Skyball whiskey. Proceeds go to charity. Okay. Is Skyball like? Is it sweet? Is it sweet and savory? Also, should I mix it with, well, I guess I'd be taking shots. Fucking hell, dude. I don't know how I would handle it. I hope I don't, like, whatever. Could be worth it. Could be a fun time. It'll be just an embarrassing mess. Dude, it's weird. Yeah, 1 month. Birthday's on June 4th, so maybe I'll be able to stream then. Dude, last time I tried to stream on my birthday, I think it was last year. Was it last year? I think I got a...
Listen.
Oh, that was from Herbert. Every time it says, hey, listen, it actually catches my attention, which is funny. But, yeah, hopefully this birthday, everything will be good and I'll be able to stream. Let's see, when does June 4th fall on? Maybe I will be able to time it up. Oh, dude, June 4th on a Thursday, my dude. Maybe we'll do a stream, birthday stream. What do you guys think? That would be pretty baller. Pretty baller. Do I ever talk on Discord? I do. I haven't been in Discord in a while just because, I mean, I'm in there in like the chat and stuff and like the politics bullshit room, you know, and just rambling on in there about dumb stuff. And then like, I'll, you know, go to memes, post some memes. But like the voice chat, I haven't really gone in a lot lately just because I don't know. I'm like either in my like Discord with like my friends from around here, playing games and stuff, but I just haven't really been motivated a lot lately. Sometimes I'll go in there, like if I'm playing games with like Jensen and stuff, but I definitely want to. I should do it more often because it's kind of pointless to have made it if I'm not going to like be there more often. But yeah, sorry for that. For people who want me to go in there and I haven't really, I'd like to. All right, let's see how you pronounce this fucking place.
Mauritius.
Mauritius, okay. Apparently it's a place in East Africa. Asherella, when's your birthday? Yeah, no, in the Discord there's a voice chat. It's called Ram Ranch. Oh, that's your jam is voice chatting? Hell yeah. Maybe I'll be motivated to go in there now. When I was 2 and he was 10, we went on a holiday to visit family in Mauritius, getting picked up by a taxi at 6 a.m. to go to the airport. My brother woke up at 5 and was getting his things together. He was grabbing some things off of his windowsill and happened to see our neighbor in the garden. He looked up at my brother and smiled and waved.
Hey, listen.
He waved back and thought nothing of it. When the time comes, he's putting his suitcase in the taxi and our neighbor's daughter comes out to wave us off and said, "Sorry to tell this before you go, but I thought you should know that my dad died in his sleep about 11 p.m. And it makes my brother go cold to this day to think about it. He remembers exactly what our neighbor was wearing when he saw. Jesus, that's freaky. That's Freaky Friday, y'all. Shit. He remembers exactly what our neighbor was wearing when he saw him. Every detail of his smile and wave, but this man was dead. Even now, I'm having mild experiences a lot, things being moved, footsteps when I'm alone, and the very occasional disembodied voice. I'm sorry it's not dramatic and crazy, and I'm very sorry about how long this is, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, whatever. I'll just end on that dead part where he said that, because that's kind of a creepier way to end there. Thomas S. with the 2 says $200 if you do a drink/drunk live. Oh, that's that's how much you're gonna donate if I do a drunk live stream. Oh, fucking hell. That's kind of a motivating factor right there. At first I thought you said that's how much the whiskey costs, but... Hey, Gio with the 10 says, "Love your stories, man. Please do a Skinwalker video." Yeah, I need to find some more Skinwalker stories. Ram Ranch, 16 naked cowboys in the shower. Hell yeah, brother. You just watched Freaky Friday. That's funny. Ram Ranch. Dude, Ram Ranch Emotional Cover is one of the greatest songs you'll ever listen to. It really opened my mind to, I guess, emotional covers overall. And being covered in emotion. All the emotional juices just being lathered in it. Heal, yes. Damn. Alright, well. That might have to happen. How expensive is whiskey? Yeah, I don't know. Skinwalker for life. Ross was born a foreskinwalker. He remembers exactly what our neighbor was wearing when he saw him. Every detail of his smile and wave. But this man was dead. Bum bum bum. What if I ended every one of my stories instead of that like transitionary noise? It was like bum bum bum. It's like a comedic sound. Shirley Flanders, your voice, bro. Thank you, Shirley. It opens your third eye. Yeah, get some absinthe. Drunk birthday live stream sounds like a good idea. Yeah, you got. Yeah, fuck. That would be litty titty for sure. Do more high school and college roommate stories. That does sound good, actually. That's I think that's a great idea. Totes ruin the mood. When are you going to let us see you? Yeah, if you want to see me, I'm on the my face is on the Discord selfies tab. So if you have a Discord, you can, or an account for Discord, you can make one. They're easy to make or whatever. Or download Discord. You can access it through browser. Go to the link down below to click the invite, or one of the mods can invite you. And yeah, you'll find it in the selfies tab on the pinned messages. Slurp, slurp. I'll have to find the sound effect. Brr, brr, brr. Izzy Jane, your face is in there too. Nice. Got lots of beautiful people in there. It's really nice. Nice to see beautiful faces in the morning. You have one for playing. Wow. Yeah, DMT live stream. You just don't hear me. I just disappear and climb out my window. Immortal Fae. Boo! Fucking boo! 281 likes, but there's 474 peeps. Guys, go click that like button if you haven't already. Gotta get more in here. I would love to get this stream back up to, we had one time we have 1,200 people. That was fucking radical. How old am I? 29. Soon to be 30 in June. Crazy. 30. What the fuck is 30? I don't know. I'm just gonna pretend it's 20. What if I just said I'm 20? I'm 20. I'm 20 with a big old beard. I'm 20 with a big old beard. Things are strange. Things are weird. This happened to me about 6 years ago. My name is Amanda. I'm a 28-year-old Hispanic female, and I was born and raised in Southern California in a town called Paris. It's a small sort of ghetto area, but it was home. We lived in the nicest house on our street, but because of how bad the area got over the years since I was little, we had to have a wrought iron fence, bars on all the windows, and 2 German shepherds just in case. To be honest, my mom and I used to think my dad was way too paranoid. Growing up, I used to walk up and down the streets of my hometown with friends, and even though it wasn't the best area, nothing ever happened that made me feel unsafe, until this happened to me. My dad had had enough of living in the ghetto, and my parents had been wanting to move for years. Finally, my dad found a job in Arizona where my uncle lives, so he left to Arizona to temporarily live with... Alright, hold on a second. My cat wants in. Let me let him in real quick. In and out, in and out. So funny, like every time he comes in the room, I have to open it just a little bit so that like he's not scared away by the opening of the door. And then when he comes in, now he comes in, now he's rubbing through my legs, rubbing on every possible surface. Why are you the sweetest boy on earth? Why are you too nice? And he makes like a little bit of like a pigeon noise. Yeah, like... It's so funny. Oh my god. Alright, enough. He just plops down into like a rag doll. What are you doing? I wonder if you guys can hear him. Can you guys hear him making the purring noises? Not sure if it's cool. Hey, Cheyenne Dory Bob, welcome back. What's poppin'? It's actually, yeah, what if he was just a pigeon? I had no idea. This is my cat. This is my beloved cat. It's like, you know, does like the pigeon flaps. My room is just covered in bird shit. This is my cat, guys. He's really sweet. I had too much of that Japanese whiskey. Oh, you heard him enter? Wow. So you can hear like everything, I guess. Huh. Maybe I should stop jerking off. No, I'm just kidding. Finally, my dad found a job in Arizona where my uncle lived. So he left to Arizona to temporarily... God damn it. Finally, my dad found a job in Arizona where my uncle lived. So he left to Arizona to temporarily live with my uncle to start his job and house search for us, while me, my mom, and sisters stayed behind to pack everything in boxes. I only had a couple of months to get everything in order, but when I found time, I wanted to hang out with some friends before I left California. The night this happened, I was planning to hang out with my ex-boyfriend. We'll call him Freddie. We were both kind of broke, so we just grabbed a couple of Arizona iced teas from the gas station and went to hang out at the small park in town. Keep in mind, it was about 8 or 9 at night, and it was very dark. But I had grown up going to the park and been there so many times I didn't see a problem with it at the time. That was a dumb mistake. When we got there, I decided just in case to leave my wallet in my purse and tuck it under my seat. I thought I was smart. And we grabbed our drinks and started to walk around the big grassy area of the park to talk and show each other funny pictures from our phones. There were some people when we first got there, but not even 15 minutes passed and it seemed like everyone had just vanished. First red flag. We also passed by a suspicious-looking guy with his dog sitting at a bench like he was waiting for someone who also whistled when we passed by. Another red flag that I stupidly ignored. Freddie and I ended up sitting on a small hill behind the restroom, still continuing our conversation about God knows what, when all of a sudden I heard some footsteps approaching the left of us, and that's when everything happened so fast. I remember looking up and seeing 4 Latino guys with bald heads, and if I had to guess, they all could have been probably older than 20. Sorry. He's just aggressively pushing his body in and out between my legs and then falling over and then biting my shoe and then doing it again. He eventually gives up, but it's hard to ignore him because he's such a baby. He's so stupid. He jumped up on the bed and I look at him and he does a roll over to his belly he's like, you know what you want to do. Go ahead, touch me. Ashley Jade Fetters with the 5 says, I work till midnight. This stream is saving my life. Thanks, Joel. You are the bestest ever. Thanks for making me laugh with my Chills impression. You're welcome. I love Chills though. I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. Chills is the man with the plan. Oh, that's funny. Alien heads before I said 4-ball.
Listen.
That is funny. Who knows? He might have known. He might have read the story beforehand. Alright, I remember looking up and seeing... Okay. I don't know why. The grammar just seems weird here. I remember looking up and seeing 4 Latino guys with bald heads, and if I had to guess, couldn't have been... Fuck. Archon 1010 with the 2 bucks says, give Pradeep a kitty treat. I will. I need to actually get him some good kitty treats. Do you guys have any suggestions of some top tier kitty treats?
Hey, listen.
I remember looking up and seeing 4 Latino guys with bald heads, and if I had to guess, they all couldn't have been older than 20. One ran up to Freddie and yelled, Hey, where you from, S.A.? Freddie's response was, what? But before the guy could ask again, Freddie just jumped up and ran, while just the one guy chased after him. And yes, he left me there, alone, with the 3 remaining guys just staring at me. I had never felt more fear in my entire life. So scared that my legs felt too heavy to move, and I knew that these guys could catch me. Then the one that looked like he was the youngest approached me with a long knife in his hand and pressed it against my stomach. Not hard enough to puncture, but enough to hurt. He also kept one hand on my shoulder, I guess to make sure I couldn't or wouldn't think about moving or trying anything. My phone was kind of small at that time, and it was so dark that luckily I was able to slip it into my sleeve while they were looking. My phone was kind of small at the time, and it was so dark that luckily I was able to slip it into my sleeve while they weren't looking, so Hopefully, if I made it out alive, I could call 911. Give me everything you got, girl. Empty your pockets, he said to me. I remember thinking he was trying to convince me and the guys behind him of how tough he wanted to be, but wasn't yet. I put both my hands up and said I didn't have anything, I swore. He looked back at the other guys and back at me, and that's when I started to cry and sweat and thought, please, God, I just want to see my mom again, please. And then he said, pull the stuff out of your pockets now. I pulled my car keys out and a dollar bill and for some reason got either brave or stupid and said, see, like I said, I have nothing. Again, he looked back at his friends who were clearly getting impatient and nervous, and that's when it hit me. Oh my God, this is a gang initiation. God help me. Then he said, I know you got a phone, so give it. Again, I put my hands up and told him, I don't have it on me. You can check if you want. Stupid, I know, but I thought if I told him that he would just believe me. He didn't, so he checked my pockets of my sweater, and I kept thinking, oh God, if my phone rings, these guys are definitely going to kill me. Finally, the guy who was chasing Freddy ran back, but no Freddy. I'm guessing that was their signal to get out of there because all of a sudden the guy grabbed my keys and the $1 bill, gives me a shove, and then they all took off running, scattering in different directions of the park, I'm guessing as planned. Still in shock, I was still alive and had not been stabbed to death, or worse. I stood there for a minute or two, looking around to make sure that they were gone. Not knowing what happened to Freddy and angry that he betrayed me and left me. Finally, I felt like I could move and start running, crying, breathing hard, feeling like I was going to pass out from all the shock. I found a lit area of picnic benches where I sat, and all of a sudden I heard Freddy call my name and run to me. I wanted to slap his face, but for some reason I was glad he was alive. Looking back now, I have no idea why I even cared. I pulled out my phone and called the police and called AAA because my keys had been stolen and my mom didn't know where the spare key was. The cops took my statement, and I distinctly remember how the cop looked at Freddy in disgust when he heard that he had left me. They never found the guys that did this, of course, but the keys were replaceable, and the $1 bill was a small cost to pay for my life. I had nightmares for weeks after that night, and always woke up with a plan in my stomach, and oops. Second Amendment. I know. She'd be better off with it. I had nightmares for weeks after that night, and I always woke up with a pain in my stomach in the same spot where the guy pushed the knife to me. This was a traumatizing experience that made me a very paranoid person. I have since moved out of California and now live in another state with my husband of 4 years. I have developed a habit of checking and rechecking the locks on my doors and my car. I'm constantly looking behind me and have had panic attacks because I always think I'm being followed even though the town I live in now is very safe. Freddy and I didn't talk for years, but he has since apologized to me and admitted to being scared, which to me is a lot for a guy to admit. He now has a family of his own, and we have remained friends on Facebook, but don't talk often. What I learned from this experience is to not ignore the red flags, and to never ever hang out in parks alone at night. The GOAT of YouTube. Thank you, Alexander. Appreciate that. It's so weird. Like, I always imagine like what it's like to be one of those channels like something like Philip DeFranco or what's his name, Jeffree Star, or just all those like random ones that are just like so fucking big they're like literally YouTube giants, you know what I mean? Like what that kind of pressure kind of goes along with that, because you sort of have to be very, very mainstream, you know what I mean? You kind of have to appeal to so many like different perspectives. Well, not necessarily different ones, but the main ones that don't get you in trouble with like the media, the ones that don't get you in trouble with like, you know, all of the you know, the PC culture and all that bullshit. And it's like, how do you keep drama out of your life? You know what I mean? Because I feel like people would just be like looking for it, you know, at that point. I am pretty damn big. I guess, yeah, it's just weird because I mean, I feel like even at like, we're at like 625k subs, which thank you for that. It's awesome. It's, I don't know. It just, maybe I would get used to it. Maybe you get used to it as you grow, because I guess I've gotten used to this. Kelly, this isn't pressure. I don't know. I guess it's pressure to keep doing what you guys love, you know what I mean? Like, where I have to, but I feel pretty confident in the fact that if I maintain the content that I do, that most people will stick around, hopefully. I think the biggest pressure would be if you were on like one of those YouTube channels where you like, I don't know, you got popular based on like stuff that's really difficult to do. Like this one channel, have you seen this one channel? They all gas, no brakes, you know, and he goes around and does it's called All Gas No Brakes, and he goes around and does like interviews with like crazy people at like different conventions and stuff, you know, like crazy stuff like the Flat Earthers convention or like a pornographic convention, or like recently went to like some of those like protests over the coronavirus and like interact with a lot of those like, you know, gung-ho crazy people or whatever. And like, or, you know, obviously he singles out the real nutballs in that scenario. I'm not saying everybody in those scenarios are always, even at the conventions that are for porn or furries, I'm not saying that they're crazy, but they always find like good interviews. And like, yeah, you know what I mean? I just think like that would be difficult to like always have to like be on the move, on the go, like thinking of content that you can get to, like making sure the content exists and that kind of thing, where I feel like I'm very fortunate where I've found this like rhythm with this channel that I'm able to produce the content that I can, you know what I mean? So I do really appreciate you guys for that. Yeah, that's funny. You hate your name because anyone who types daddy, your name is immediately highlighted. Your name's Addy. I want, give it to me, Addy. It's very strange what people were able to get used to. Oh yeah, I can imagine. That's the weird part. Like, you know, even someone who's in like a position of like a lot of power, you know, like whether you're like a lifelong politician or something like that, you know what I mean? Like those people get used to that, you know, they get used to it, and they look at you differently, you know what I mean? They look at the people that, I mean, they almost, I feel like it to a degree could probably convince themselves that there's some sort of like blessing to the earth or something of that nature, or that like, you know, nothing gets done unless it goes past me first, you know, and they have a certain like, you know, royalty head about them. But everybody can get used to anything, I can imagine, especially if it benefits them in some way. But I feel like I've done a decent job at staying like humble. Like I certainly don't look at myself as better at all because I read scary stories on YouTube, you know what I mean, or do podcasting and stuff. Like that's why I enjoy the Discords. That's why I enjoy like interacting with people. And y'all playing Last Oasis. Bob Ross really wants to know if anybody's playing Last Oasis. He needs a buddy. Cause I'm a shit gamer and I play shit games. You missed the busy Ram Ranch on Discord. Yeah, lately I feel like I've been like looking at it to see if anybody's in it before I join it, and because it's not, I like don't join it sometimes, but I know that sometimes me joining it motivates people to join, so I should probably do it more often. But do I watch Mr. Nightmare? You know, I don't really watch any of this kind of content, as weird as that sounds. Like I'll look at Mr. Nightmare's videos, like I've pretty much just to kind of catch a vibe, like what he's doing, like business wise, you know what I mean? Like what's it like, is his narration good, is where does he put his advertisements when he does such short videos? Like you know, I saw that he marked that his one kidnapping video recently got age restricted, so he took it down and posted it again, which I thought was funny. And you know, and I presume it didn't get age restricted this time, so it was just kind of like a hit or miss thing with YouTube's algorithm, which is quite strange. But yeah, when it comes to content like that, like obviously I told you I like that Night Terrors guy because I like his voice. Like, obviously no hit on Mr. Nightmare, but I don't really like Mr. Nightmare's voice because it's just like, I don't know. It's not a terrible voice, but it's just like not a unique one. You know what I mean? To me, it sounds very normal, I guess. This is the only way I can describe it. It just sounds like a normal guy telling normal stories, and it doesn't really excite me. But like that Night Terrors guy, like there's something about like his voice that takes me to another fucking plane of existence, man. Lazy Masquerade is British me. I love Lazy Masquerade. He's very ominous in his tellings of tales late at night. Who here is on Let's Read's Discord? Yeah, anybody? I'm sure you would probably recognize him. I have the most soothing voice, thank you. Oof, The Last of Us 2 will give us nightmares. Jamie, yeah, I haven't seen Jamie in a while. She's, I don't know. Yeah, Mr. Nightmare's been posting more lately. I wonder if it's just like I know he has like a normal job, which is funny. Even though his YouTube channel does so well, but it makes sense, to keep it. Horrorcraft. I don't think I've heard of Horrorcraft. Do I listen to Mortis Media? I've definitely listened to him before, but like I said, I don't really listen to many narrators stuff. Like as far as I don't really listen to like this kind of content when I watch videos. I like to watch like as far as content that I consume, I watch a lot of political stuff or listen to a lot of political podcasts and things like that. And kind of, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Like political stuff. Sometimes I'll watch like streamers videos, like highlights of streamers videos that they put up that I like watching. Sometimes I'll like a random like NFL's biggest hits or something, will pop up and I'll watch that for a little bit, just stupid shit. But most of the time, I'm usually listening to something that's. Dude, what is the best fast food place for keto? Oh fuck! Well, I just went to Five Guys after going on a long walk with my friends, and we got the at Five Guys you can get like a lettuce wrap burger, and it was good as fuck. So I definitely would check that out. I know it's kind of out of your way, but. That was, yeah, I get the Burger King lettuce wrap. Have I listened to Unit 522? Yeah, definitely. Me and Unit are actually friends on Facebook, which is kind of funny. He's a good guy, Southern Cannibal's good. Yeah, I think all those guys are good. And I think the cool thing about the narration community is that they're all really, really nice to each other. We all like want to work together and try our best to kind of lift each other up, which is sweet. It's like, not a sort of like unnecessary sense of drama. I don't know. I look at some channels that get really big and they just like create this drama. It's like why are you letting that's the unfortunate part about YouTube is that you become kind of like socially isolated, I guess you could say, to like social media all the time. And then if someone gives you shit on social media, you take it real seriously. And it's like, dude, that's a motherfucking person on a screen like saying shit to you, and they're so literally irrelevant to your life. Why would you ever care about that? But like I think that's the bad thing about YouTube is that because you're so socially isolated, you sort of build up a complex where every negative comment really like weighs on you. And if someone creates drama with you over social media, you gotta like bring your legion of fans, to your defense, and it's all just like a pointless storyline. Like you're like watching some really silly fan fiction play out online, and it's like, who fucking cares, dude? Like people just want to watch your content. Sure, people have drama once in a while, and it kind of tingles a certain varied aspect of our brains that we might not otherwise get to experience. But dude, I don't give a fuck. I could give two shits less about what someone says to me on the on Twitter. Oh my god, it's Twitter. Someone was mean to me on Twitter. Oh no. This story is going to sound strange to anyone who isn't spiritual or doesn't believe in demons. I encourage you not to skip the story because maybe you'll learn something from it. And it is 1,000% true in what we experienced. So be warned now, but I know what many others and myself have experienced. I accidentally exorcised some demons from someone, which is the theatrical term for it, but we call it deliverance at church, usually, and it was terrifying. I just recently figured out what the Holy Spirit can do in my life personally, speaking in tongues, when I'm praying, just me and God, not to a whole room with an interpretation. Miraculous healing and prophecy are the things that I didn't know were true outside of the Bible, too, until I received those gifts for myself. After I got baptized in the Holy Spirit, the demonic dreams that plagued me my whole life changed and then went away. I started casting the demons out in my dreams instead of cowering from them or crying or screaming or other things like that. Thank goodness, because it's not fun to be afraid to go to sleep and being afraid of being awake at the same time. That's sort of symbolic for what I'm about to share. I had a best friend that I was super close with that I met at church. Over time, I saw him starting to drift away from the faith and church culture a little bit, so I started praying for him from afar. Then it turned into blatant disregard for Jesus, and I became devastated. I've never interceded more for someone in my whole life. Long story short, way down the line, we were at church retreat. Oops, my bad. Thomas with the 10 buckaroo says, I gotta go figure it out logistics for my son's pre-op tomorrow. 4th heart surgery on the 4th. I hope everyone had a great night and day. Joel, thanks for the content, man. I love it. Thanks, Thomas. I hope everything goes well with that surgery. That's crazy, man. I'll be praying for you. Yeet, 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 Hannah. Yeet, yeet, yeet. Your husband calls the meanies on Twitter the Twitterly Who's. That's why I call it twatter, because it's just full of a bunch of twats. Like I literally could give two. Like everybody's nonstop mad, and they think like placing a clapping emoji in between their statement is somehow solidifying any sort of reality to anyone else. No, it just makes you look unstable. It makes you look unstable. Like, chill out. Like, there's like, go to a meme page. Go check out Horny Computer. You know what I mean? Like reality. I don't know. And it generates this like false reality. Like this weird reality that the world is constantly coming to an end. Oh, we're constantly in. This is it, guys. This is where it is. This is where it ends. Like, it's all. We're dead. We're dead soon. Everybody's dead. It's like, and I think it's weird. I think it almost encourages that attitude all the time, because once again, I think there's a certain level of like chemicals that are released from people's mind when they think that there's like some sort of chaos, you know what I mean? Some sort of chaos like going on, and they read it and they think they're a part of it. They like, you're not. These are people on a screen jibber jabbering with each other back and forth online. It's stupid as fuck. And I think the most embarrassing part to me is like, yeah, nice plug, yeah. At Horny Computer for the best memes you've ever seen. What's wrong with clapping? It's so stupid. It's like you couldn't, I don't know. Because it's a meme. It's a meme too. Like, clapping in between everything is a meme. You doing it does not make your point stronger. It makes you a meme. You know, it's so dumb. And like, I think the most embarrassing and most frustrating part about Twitter is the fact that every politician is on there. And the politicians have like, they throw shade at each other. Unpopular opinion, you want me to read a story? I will, I promise. I just need to get this one last rant. They throw shade at each other online like a bunch of fucking teenagers. Like, they're literally like on Facebook saying passive aggressive like things back and forth, and then someone else retweets it and says a passive aggressive thing, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, no one fucking cares. Dude, whatever happened, if you're a politician or working within politics, whatever happened to debates? Whatever happened to debates? We have debates like, sure, you have them with like borderline the progressive dementia fucking Joe Biden up on stage trying to remember what he's saying while arguing with Burn Dog, but it's just like, dude, what happened to debates? what happened to the debates. That's how you solve. I mean, obviously, people can hear you're reeing and screeing on your tweet, to the, XYZ politician. But like, why can't these politicians are like afraid to go discuss their ideas with one another? And I really think it has to do with the fact they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. Let me do it. Let me do a clap. They have no idea what they're talking about. Like, all they do is get people riled up. Let me get you riled up on Twitter. Get my base riled up, man. These aren't intelligent people running the country. These are not smart people. Anyways, let me move on. Cam with the $2 says, what did you think about Michael Does Life? Michael Does Life? I don't think I've heard of Michael Does Life. What is that? Sleepy Joe. It's such a funny name. I don't know, man. It's just so stupid. Like, just so stupid. Like, you don't, like, if you listen to like political analysis on YouTube about stuff, you may have an opportunity, if the individual is not emotional, and I'm sorry if I sound emotional right now, but you might have an opportunity. You might have one inkling of an opportunity to learn something as you listen to them. But like, normal politicians, like the ones that are in the mainstream that you catch, do you ever think you learn anything from them talking? Do you ever feel like you experience any other sensation than like frustration or anger or anything from the words that come out of their mouth? Because everything they say, it just feels like an endless stream of bullshit. And it's never like you're learning about the economy, or you're learning about like how, foreign intervention works, or like, it's like it just makes you wonder, like, how in the actual Lord God fuck did these people get to the point that they did? I don't really know. I have no idea. Yeah, and some of their tweets are written by other people, like a team of like 20-year-old interns or some shit. You know what I mean? And I would much rather read like the tweets, like the shade thrown between Wendy's and fucking Taco Bell's Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like the arguments that you see on Twitter are like the most superficial, like top level, like all you need is an IQ of like 50 to like comprehend it, and because all they want from you is an IQ of 50 to click like on it. You know what I mean? They don't want you to engage in the or the conversation. They don't want you to feel stimulated or consider a new perspective. They just want you mad. They want you mad, and they want you to get behind them being mad at someone else. It's just like, can we like, are we intelligent? Are we smart? Can we have conversations? Can we duke it out with words that aren't, pejoratives or fucking insults or things of that nature? Like, is that impossible? Can we learn something once in a while? Like, it's just so, it's so baffling that that's what politics has devolved into. Pickle Queen with the vibe says, yep, I usually just feel completely flabbergasted. I mean, that's really the only word, that's really the only word I can describe. The fact that Twitter even continues to exist is so embarrassing. Joel for president. I can't say I would be a good president. I can't say I know enough. I can't say I can recognize stupid. I can recognize things that are not as intelligent as myself, which, like, I'm like in some percentile in between, because I know there's a lot more smart and more intelligent people than myself, but I don't think I understand politics enough to actually like do anything. And the weirdest part is that I'm starting to recognize that the individuals that run, I don't think they do either. And then even if they did, even if they had some like real master plan, it's almost like you need to have so many working pieces like operating in conjunction. You almost have to like trick people. You almost have to like trick people into like following what your plan is, you know what I mean? Like, as far as like getting legislation through and all this kind of stuff, because it just really does seem like a dirty game. Cheyenne Dory Bob with a 5 says, honestly agree with you. This is why I don't bother watching the news. I research everything. Wendy's has the best tweets, hand down. Yeah, those are funny as hell. Yeah, research. I mean, look into it. I mean, the news. I like, if the past 4 years has taught you anything, or taught me anything, the news specifically doesn't care if it teaches you anything. It just wants to make you angry. It wants to make you mad. It wants to keep you, like, arguing with your family about some stupid shit that you're not going to change, and it feels more like you're just, like, role-playing. Like, oh, you know, like, if you arguing with your family member and you arguing with your friends about a perspective that maybe they hypothetically hold, or maybe they don't agree with you, is literally just dividing. It's just dividing people anymore. And I almost feel as if, though, that's like the whole point of the media, just to keep people arguing very, very specific talking points whenever they can't seem to comprehend, like, a concept that's original to their own mind. Like, just, I don't know, just don't let it control you, because it literally seems to only end in some form of destruction, whether that's personal self-destruction, self-implosion, or your relationships get torn apart. And to me, that's like, why would you, like, imagine breaking up a relationship or a friendship over Harry Potter, an argument about Harry Potter, you know, because it's not the same, obviously, but to a degree, based on our involvement and our rung, you know, where we exist in the rung of the ladder, it's the same thing. It's just consumer content, you know. Archon with the 5 says, do you need a hug? Dude, I would love a hug. Please fucking squeeze the shit out of me. Cam with the $3 says, check out KFI John and Ken show on iHeartRadio. Okay, yeah, definitely. I might have to DM me those because I'm not going to remember. But I would definitely, I'm always down to listen to more stuff. Yeah, we're gonna read some stories now. That was just my rant. I'm just sick of it. I'm just so fucking sick of it. Long story short, way down the line, we were at a church retreat one year, and the spiritual atmosphere was tingly. Like God's presence was just everywhere. It was crazy. Anyone who has felt this knows what I'm talking about. Expectation was in the air. 2 weeks before this retreat, my mentioned friend's sister came up and prophesied to me. Like I said, this probably sounds ridiculous to anyone who doesn't know what God can do to people. That my demonic dreams changing and leaving was a sign that deliverance was part of my calling, and that I would be part of deliverances or exorcisms in my life. I was freaked out. No thanks, that's too scary. 2 weeks later, here I am at this retreat. I knew God was going to do something big, but I didn't know what it was. The last night, which is always the most spiritually intense, in a good way, I walked into the chapel with all the students worshiping and immediately began looking for my friend. I wanted to pray over him. I couldn't find him for the life of me and was afraid he left early since he doesn't participate in this stuff anyway. He was just going to these events to appease his parents. I go to the corner to worship and I open my eyes, and 4 feet in front of me, there he is. Sitting in the only chair in the room, head rested on his hands, arms rested on his legs, blatantly trying to ignore the electrifying atmosphere. So the setting, the worship is concert level loud as this is happening. I suddenly begin sobbing uncontrollably and feel an intense love in my heart. I open my mouth to start praying from 4 feet away, but I just can't stop praying in tongues. All of a sudden, through my tears, I see him start beating his head with his fists. Due to the loud music and the focus people had on God, no one noticed this at this point. Then he begins screaming at the top of his lungs. Blood-curdling male screams as he keeps messing with his head. I didn't know what to do, so I just kept praying and crying. Suddenly he stands up and starts heading for the door, and I need to pray over him now, but I don't move. I was terrified. A student stops him and begins praying over him. Thank goodness, this bought some time. I watch him, and as this student is praying, his eyes are darting back and forth. He wants to get to the door, so the kid stops praying and doesn't even get a thanks from my friend. His mind is elsewhere, and I approach him. I ask, "Can I please pray for you?" Keep in mind, we were best friends, very buddy-buddy. He says, "Sure," in the most flat, unamused voice ever. I look into his eyes, although he refuses to make eye contact with me, and see something else behind them. It was otherworldly, and I wish I could explain it further. I put my hand on his shoulder. laying hands is biblical and whatnot. That's what our church automatically does. And he smacks it off of him. He says, "Don't touch me." And I remember something a pastor told me once about how once when he was casting out a demon from someone, whenever he touched the person would feel physical pain and burning wherever his hand touched. So I said, "Okay, I'll just pray then." He stops me again and says, when you're praying, pray to me." What? I'm not going to pray. Whoops. Sorry, let me read that over. Sorry. Hey. Electronic Notation with the 2 Canadian maple syrup bucks says, "PSA, don't drink bleach, kids. It won't cure COVID." Hey, yeah, I wouldn't, I started taking bleach tablets, though, so I'll let you know if it starts working for me. The doctor said to give it a week. Aria Nozami with the 10 Canadian maple syrup doll hairs says, "I love listening to your videos while doing chores or going to sleep. Makes it go so much faster. Keep up the good work." Thank you, Aria. I like that name. That's nice. And Logan DeCarroll with the 5 says, "Good job." Thank you, Logan. Yeah, there goes your plan of laying in tanning bed, drinking shots of Clorox. Yeah. All of our plans are foiled. Dang it. We got bleach injections. You could do like bleach eye drops. Like I said, the tablets are fine. I was thinking about the bleach enemas for all. Yeah, if you guys want to, maybe that's what I'll do next stream. Instead of whiskey, we'll just do bleach. Jensen, you're just lurking playing Overwatch. How much do you hate that game? How much does it make you want to just jump off of one of the bridges in Eichenwald? Blossom Dagger with the 2 says, "Other country scientists, leaders, U.S. reality star." Yeah. Welcome to reality. Ben, Joel, your voice makes you sound like a very attractive man. Well, my voice is very deceptive. He stops me again and says, "When you're praying, pray to me." What? No, I'm going to pray to God. But I don't respond to that. I just pray. I am literally rambling and can barely even speak because my sobbing only got worse by this point. Then 4 of his close friends surround him too as we stand there, and they lay hands on him and begin praying. He kneels over and, bent in half, and begins screaming manically. We know what's happening, so we just keep praying. Luckily, the worship music was concert-level loud. After about 2 minutes of him bending over and screaming as we continue praying, he stands up perfectly calm and leaves the chapel. We all just watch as he goes. None of us know what to do or how to acknowledge the situation, so we just walk away and continue to worship. But obviously, I continued praying over what just happened. I had heard demons manifest before from a distance since our church is so spirit-filled and they literally cannot stand the presence of God, but I had never had it happen due to my prayers before. I sadly do not believe that whatever demons had came out of him that day, but... Oops. Sorry. I sadly didn't... Okay. Logan DeCarroll with the 5 says, "Thanks for helping me sleep literally every night. Also, thanks for actually pronouncing my middle name right." You're welcome. Absolutely. I'm glad I can help you sleep. Sleep is so important. Make sure you guys are getting that if you can, because honestly, I've heard like some of the biggest contributors to depression and the feeling of just like dog shit is not getting sleep. I sadly don't believe that whatever demons he had came out of him that day, but they were fighting and reacting without a doubt. These days my friend and I hardly ever speak, but we recently caught up and he's attending a different church than his family, and he's probably better than he's been in years, unless he's lying to me. It was a very scary situation, but also gave me more confidence for if that ever happened in the future. After all, his sister did prophesy that that would be part of my calling. Leslie, you don't sleep anymore at all. Why is that? Sloth, you're getting way too much sleep. I guess it's not a terrible thing, but make sure you get outside to go for a walk here and there. You don't sleep because you stay up and listen to me. Alright, so we got 3 more stories to go. These are medium story, longer. They're all like kind of medium stories. So this probably got another 20 or 30 minutes left here. Oh, 7 a.m. What's sleep? That's a good point. You just had a bad argument with your family. Can you please say something to pick you up? I love you so much. Things will heal in time. The best way to overcome stuff is to forgive others. Like, if you can be the first one to forgive someone, you have a lot of power in that, relationship. As far as, like, not letting their words hurt you. If you can control your own emotions, you'll have a lot more power in that regard. And forgiving people first and coming to, a reasonable discussion about how you can move forward from here. Obviously, like I said, time heals wounds, and it really does. Even if you've been through a bad breakup or you feel bad about something, like, time will eventually bring people back together. Because eventually you've had enough time to sort of stew on things and reflect that it probably seems relatively silly to both parties, unless it's been something that's like real bad. But if you can be the first one to forgive people and you give them time to sort of relax and recoup, all of those types of hiccups in relationships can be mended very quickly. What have I been doing during quarantine? Well, not a whole lot different than what I normally do in my life while being a full-time YouTuber. I mean, my life kind of consists primarily of recording these stories, working out at the gym, and just hanging out with friends and stuff like that. And, during quarantine, without working out at the gym, it's like life is pretty boring. I mean, it's kind of nice because it gives me a lot more time for doing more streams, and time management and that kind of thing isn't oriented around my workouts as much anymore. But been having some fun, like going on walks with family and family friends and things like that, because we go on some long ass walks, and you just really cover quite a few bases, which is fun. Yeah, Benadryl does really, I mean, I probably will end up taking some ZQuil tonight, which has Benadryl, the active ingredient that, helps with allergies, but also which is like an antihistamine, I think, and also helps to knock you out. Make you drowsy. It will make you drowsy in the morning, but it definitely will knock you out. And I probably will take some ZQuil tonight, just because I don't know. I woke up at like 7 a.m. when my roommate was going to work, but then I just like kept sleeping and must have like slept in bed till like close to noon or beyond. And I know that's going to be difficult to fall asleep now. Emily, hey Emily, how many stories left? We got 3 left, so hey, not too bad. Benadryl, melatonin, even prescriptions still don't knock me out. Well, Leslie, I'm gonna have to say, like, most likely, I don't know. Do you do exercising? Because that's really probably your best bet. Is to, like, you probably have a lot of energy in that regards. And gay, Chris, that's a hilarious question. Gay? I am not gay now. Exercise is probably some of the best way to like regulate your sleep schedule, because everything you can think about the human body originates to what we evolved to be. A lot of our day-to-day life involved finding food, gathering food, hunting food, blah blah blah, and it revolved around the circadian rhythms and the rhythms of the sun, and that natural release of melatonin around those hours. And yeah, just exercise can be a thing that can really help to kind of like calm our minds and wind us down. Also, before you go to bed, doing like stretches, really kind of like getting away from distractions, maybe reading like a book that's an actual book, even though reading like Kindle is not terrible, but just really helping your body to like wind down. Physical exercise is very important. Alec Vega with the $2 says, "Hey Joel, about to take a drink. Join us, thanks." We were just talking, Alec, about doing a drunk stream here soon, which, fuck, maybe my birthday. Maybe that's when I'll do it. June 4th. Thursday, June 4th. Save the date. Let's make a tentative announcement that there is a drunk stream happening then. And with a little bit of whiskey. Here, opium will knock you out, yeah, for sure. With a few other side effects to go along with that. I'm a 26-year-old female from Michigan, but I was 20 at the time this took place. I live in a safe town, and I was working at Walmart in the next town over, which is an even safer town. I work midnights because I am definitely not a people person. Every day I would go home on my lunch to see my new puppy, who to this day has kept me going through countless problems in my life. Working midnights, there were basically no cars on the road when I was going home on my lunches. I was, when I was 4 miles from work at a stoplight, that I noticed a car had been behind me for a mile or two. I drive like a grandma and always go the speed limit, so there wasn't a reason for someone to stay behind me with clear open road all over. I keep on my way home. The car is still behind me another mile. I thought, okay, that's weird, but maybe coincidence. I then had to turn on a side street with only neighbors along either side for about a mile. Oops, neighborhood. I'm getting like cat hair in my nose for some reason. I can't wait for the fucking barbers to be open because holy shit, my beard is getting buck wild. I then had to turn... Okay. Lydia Rose with the 5 says, God, this lockdown has me so broke. You should do a face reveal. What whiskey do you drink? Yeah, face reveal is on the Discord. If you go to the Selfies channel on the Discord, you can find me there. It's one of the pinned messages. You can see all sorts of angles. Check out Joel Does Dallas, yeah. Whiskey, yeah, you know, I'm pretty much open to any kind of whiskey. I don't really drink that often, so I'm not really a alcohol connoisseur, but I'm gonna have to. You guys are gonna have to give me some ideas for what to drink for the drunk stream, which will be a little over a month. Could get wet and wild. Maybe I'll have to start building up a tolerance here. Okay, okay. I then had to turn on a side street with only has neighborhood. Oh, okay. I don't know what it's saying. I then had to turn on a side street that only had neighborhoods along either side for about a mile. You guessed it, the car turned too. I started to get worried but still brushed it off. Maybe they lived down that street. It was then I turned into my neighborhood I started to lose it when the car was still following me. I turned down my street but didn't pull into my driveway because I didn't want to lead this creeper to my house, so I kept driving and took another way back out of my neighborhood. The car's still following me. And just to be positive, before I called 911, I drove through my neighborhood the same way as before, and he followed again. I got back on the main road from the side street and called 911, crying because I was terrified, and explained the situation to them. I headed back towards my work. She asked where I was, and I told her the crossroads. She asked where I was, and I told her the crossroads, and lucky me, there was a patrol unit a mile up. She stayed on the phone with me and told me to pull into the 7-Eleven across the crossroads. Oh, fuck, goddammit. You're a vodka girl. I froze for half a second. Wonder what my stream... Okay, excellent connection. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of a hiccup on different people's ends here. Okay. The car pulls... Okay. She stayed on the phone with me and told me to pull into the 7-Eleven at the crossroads the police were close to. The car pulls in after me, too. The dispatcher later... Man, what's wrong with me? The dispatcher lady told me to turn my hazards on so the police know which car was which. The car must have seen the police car and tried to leave. Not today, buddy. They stopped him on his way turning out. I just parked in a spot, crying hysterically. An officer comes over and asks if I know Michael Stonebreaker. I say, no, I don't. The officer continues to say he has a good amount of heroin. The officer continues to say that he has a good amount of illicit substances on him, and this isn't his first arrest, so he'll be going away for a while. Why did he follow me? What was his motive? The officer also said the creeper said he was following me because he thought I was his friend. Why didn't he pull up to me at the red light that we were stopped at? Why wouldn't he have tried to get my attention somehow? That was a very terrifying experience for me, even if it doesn't sound scary to some of you. This taught me a very valuable lesson, though. Please pay attention to your surroundings, day or night. Anything can happen anywhere, even in a safe town. You know, that's pretty fucking true, because in my town, my friend's mom had told me this as we were walking this story about in this one neighborhood. It was a really nice neighborhood that we were in, like, or just a very quaint neighborhood. And like, she had said about how, you know, these young kids, apparently they were on drugs and they were from a town over, had illicit substances equals heroin. There you go. I just try to avoid saying stuff that's too like direct, just in case YouTube kind of triggers something with the algorithm or whatever. But anyways, this old lady, you know, was going out for a walk, and she left her door open, which in the 90s in that area was pretty normal. And I would say still is. I live in an incredibly safe area, which I'm very fortunate to have. And like these drug addicts, you know, 3 of them, you know, young kids, drove to the town and decided that they were just going to rob a random place. And they went to her place, and her door just so happened to be open in the front as she was out walking her dog. And she came back, and as she came back, they took like hammers to her face. And I don't think they killed her, but like from what I heard, like her eyeball was like out of, you know, her face, and she was just generally fucked up, you know. And it's just you know, it's just nuts, you know what I mean? Like to think that at any moment someone who's just like not in the right mind can just decide that, hey, I'm gonna go destroy someone's life today, you know what I mean? And it is really strange, crazy to think about. It really is simply evil, yeah. Just like the most evil you can be. I lost a few people when I was ranting. Yeah. Probably all the people that don't like my Twitter. What music do I listen to? I listen to a lot of weird stuff. Pretty much anything for the most part. But you know, I listen to a lot of like experimental electronic music, which is pretty cool. But I mean, recently, like when I'm getting ready and stuff, I'll be listening to, if you ever listen to Drab Majesty, it's kind of like some 80s sort of new wave stuff. And Drab Majesty Radio and Pandora is pretty sick. And all sorts of like random electronic. The stuff that I play for my outro song, I actually linked it in the description. It's like one of my favorite electronic music guys. His name's Kettle. He's from the Netherlands or somewhere out that way. Yeah, EDM. I mean EDM, but like, I mean I'm open to EDM, but like I'm not like, people think of EDM and they think like oomps, 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 and it's like, it's not quite like that. Do I have any roommate stories to tell? Nah, I've been fortunate with roommates. Though I did, you know, perhaps actually, because I was recalling like back to my days, my junior year of college, and it was late. It was probably midnight. I probably had clinical at like, I had to get up at 5 a.m. or some shit, and I heard someone enter, because we were on the top floor of this house, and I heard someone enter from like the lower stairwell that goes directly up to our place. And I heard him climbing up, and I thought it was just gonna be like, one of my, roommates or something of that nature. And they sounded like they were trying to be very quiet. And I had my door closed, and I heard him come all the way back my hallway. And all of a sudden, like, the door opened to my room. And I'm like, oh, fuck. The door opens to my room just enough. And as they open, I'm like wide awake. So I'm like, and I couldn't see who it was. It's pitch black. And I'm like, wrong room, bro. That's literally what I said. I was like, wrong room, bro. And like, then the door just like slowly closed shut. And then the person slowly walked out of the house, and you could hear him go slowly down the steps. And I'm just like, what the actual fuck was that? And, so I'm imagining it was probably like either someone trying to rob us, or there was a bar that was directly down from our place. And I was thinking maybe it was someone from the bar who just wandered in like retardedly, just drunk, but you think they would be even more like out of it. But I also kind of had a theory that it was like one of my roommates' girlfriends who was also in my nursing classes. And she was kind of fucking weird, like where because we did some, like, we had like, we were like part of this like leadership group our freshman year together, and that's how we met. And then he eventually, not directly through me, but the roommate that I did the leadership with as well, his friend from back home that we ended up rooming with, they ended up dating or whatever. So my roommate ended up dating her, but she was kind of weird. And I always kind of like had this weird inclination that she was like into me. And I know that sounds strange, but like almost in kind of an odd way, you know what I mean? And I could have totally have seen her just based on the way that she would like kind of stare and stuff, that like she would have done some sort of strange thing where she wandered back to my room just to like peek in, you know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking know. Just like some sort of like stalker sensation that she couldn't control. You know what I mean? Like, just people are fucking strange as shit. Obviously that one's kind of pushing it and a little bit disrespectful towards her, but whatever. Now my cat's doing his bumps, his bumpies. I'm a bumpy cat, and I like to bump. Bumpers like to bump. PJ Pennington, thank you, my friend. I hope you stay safe as well. For when the meteor comes. Crawled up next to you and cuddled in bed. I actually did have that happen to me my freshman year. Like, I was very, like, when I was a young laddie in college, like real young, I was very anti-drink, and like, to the point where it was like just kind of a buzzkill, I guess you could say. Yeah, then I marry her. Yeah, that'd be funny. But like, I'm laying in bed, and we had like these, I lived in the dorms or whatever, and we had two beds in the room, twin size beds, and then a common place, and then another room with, so I had 4 or 3 roommates total, 4 including myself, and they would invite the girls from across the hall over for like a party, and I wasn't really into like any of them at all. And I just remember I was like trying to sleep, in the later hours, just because I didn't want to drink, and like was kind of very anti that. And I just remember like she just came in my room and like crawled up in bed and like cuddled up next to me. And I'm pretty sure one of them like one of my roommates like sent them in to do that, you know what I mean? And I just I don't know. I just fucking like just like looked at the wall. I didn't know what to, like, I was just like, this is fucking weird. I knew which one of them it was or whatever of the girls, but I just was like, this is fucking strange. She's probably drunk as shit already or whatever, and I'm just like sitting there like, probably sleeping in my jeans with my, my prayer underwear on, or whatever. But it was just awkward as hell. And then she eventually just like said, okay, I'm gonna go. And then just like left like 10 minutes later. But it definitely, I think, was trying to lean in that direction of the sensual, but I was not feeling it at that time. It was weird. I was just imagining, like, what if I did that to some like random girl? I'd probably be in jail. A fear of intimacy. Probably when that was back when I was like 18, and it's not like I was fucking dating her or something like that. I had no idea who this chick was, but I knew who she was. But it's like if someone rolls up to you when you're trying to lay in bed and just starts cuddling up to you, I'm not like. I understand like the perspective where it's like a guy like should be totally on board with that whole process. And who knows? I mean, if that opportunity happened to me in the modern sense, I don't know how I would react, to be honest. But back then, it was just fucking weird. You know what I mean? Because I really didn't have any desire for them to be having like a party, anyways. And then I don't know, just kind of awkward. But I mean, if I was like dating the person, I'm not gonna be like, I don't want to cuddle with you, sweetheart. It's too much. Double standards. I know, it's not fair. I mean, I understand like men can be, obviously we read these stories. It's like guys are like we're fucking predators. God, you know what I mean? Like we can come off as like borderline monsters, and we are stronger. You know what I mean? Like guys are naturally stronger. So it's like that Louis C.K. skit where it's like. Men are like, he has no idea why men date women, or why women date men in the first place, because we're pretty much the biggest threat to their life. You know what I mean? Like when she says, "Where are we going tonight?" and it's like, to your death statistically, But like, so what I'm trying to make light of is the fact that I know that like guys are definitely a scary threat to women, so it's like something that they should take seriously. But it is kind of funny, like the double standard pretty much presented in all comedy, all movies, like where a girl takes advantage of a guy, and it's just sort of laughed off in a sort of comedic fashion. And even I like would still laugh at it, but I mean, I think it's important to acknowledge that double standards do exist between in both senses, you know what I mean, where a guy can be a player but a girl is considered slutty or whatever. Like that's definitely a double standard, because I think both parties like desire the physical needs of sex and all that kind of stuff. So if a girl decides to like hook up with a bunch of people, I don't really consider that like any less any different than like a guy doing it all the time, you know what I mean? Women are soft. They are quite soft. But cuddles are nice. Amanda, you're going to quit men and get a girlfriend? Yeah, maybe. They'd probably be able to like at least share bras or whatever. Grey and Bruce counties in Ontario, Canada, often get rolled into one region referred to as Grey Bruce due to the relative similarity between the terrain and general lack of urbanization anywhere besides the city of Owen Sound, which is roughly in the middle of the region. It's not an area known for any kind of mysterious happenings, as it is a pretty sleepy... Oops. Man whores versus sluts. Man whore versus slut. Fight. You're craving some physical intimacy. Aren't we all? Aren't we all? You quit men, then you quit girls. Joel, close your eyes and just go with it. Close your eyes. It's not an area known for any kind of mysterious happenings, as it is a pretty sleepy place inhabited mostly by farmers, sweet old ladies, and drug-addicted teens. The only notable exception is the Blue Mountains on the far east side where Grey and Simcoe counties meet. This area is a tourist hotspot, but the rest of the region is just your typical boring farm towns where nothing ever happens. This is why when sightings of UFOs in the area started popping up, I just chalked it up to people suffering from cabin fever due to the ongoing pandemic. But as time has progressed, I'm starting to become more and more convinced that something is up there in our skies. The first term. That's weird. I don't know why. Oh, people were saying. Okay, because YouTube's like blocking out a bunch of messages, and I'm like, what is? But I guess people are saying man, whore, and rape, so that probably should get blocked out. You want the fluffy part of the relationship, but not to commitment. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, like, I feel like with an intimate partner, it's like it's so important to be friends. You know what I mean? Like to know, because like, say your wiener gets blown off by an IED or something like that. It's like, obviously that's going to be kind of out of the question, and I'm sure relationships definitely go kind of downhill. But I can imagine that you could probably carry it on for quite a while if both of you were like tight with each other, and the fact that like you both make each other laugh a lot, and you both like have similar thoughts and ideas you can discuss and stuff. Like, you don't always need a wiener. You can quote me on that. Put that on a shirt. The first time I heard any of this was at dinner a few weeks ago. My dad mentioned he had seen some kind of elongated light in the sky the previous night. None of us really thought anything of it, figuring it had just been a meteor since due to the... What? God damn it. You always need a wiener, yeah. Wiener's not included. Your girlfriend begs to differ. See? I think I'm correct in saying you don't always need a wiener. That's my president's slogan. You don't always need a wiener. Joel for Prezi. What if my tongue got blown off in the IED too? Fried everything of that. It was a really bad improvised explosion, man. It was in a teddy bear, and I was cuddling with it at night when this... Or what if the girl that came into my room, what if she had an IED? That's what I was being wary. You never know what's inside there. I could have got a chub that night, stuck it in, and just fucking jihaded myself. You never know. Practice safe sex. Always check for IEDs. None of us really thought anything of figuring it had just been a meteor. Okay, there we go. None of us really thought anything of it, figuring it had just been a meteor since, due to the pretty much non-existent light pollution in the area, meteors are very easy to spot. That was the end of it for a few days, and I just forgot about it until 4 or 5 days later. I'm part of this Facebook group called Weird Stuff You See in Gray and Bruce, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. People mostly just Fuck. Sex ed, always check for IDs. Always cut the red wire. Or actually be careful what you cut, you could hurt somebody down there. People mostly just post pictures of funny bumper stickers they've seen on cars or strange things they've found on the side of the road. Nothing too crazy. However, I started noticing a lot of people who were asking if anyone has seen any strange lights in the sky that pretty much exactly matched the description my dad had given of what he saw. Everyone else had also come to the same conclusion that it was just a meteor shower, but the people who had seen them insisted. Fuck. Can't stop thinking of chubbies. Everyone else had also come to the same conclusion that it was just a meteor shower, but the people who had seen them insisted that the lights didn't move and just seemed to hover there, so they couldn't have been meteors. It wasn't until a few days ago when I actually saw the lights myself. I was up late, as I have been ever since this pandemic started, browsing Reddit and watching some YouTube videos when I finally decided it was time to try and get some sleep. I went to the bathroom to brush my teeth, and I was about to turn on the lights when I saw them out the window. Two very distinct, elongated lights hovering pretty far apart in the night sky. I walked up to the window and cut my hands around my eyes and pressed against the glass to get a better look. Of course, I don't know what I was hoping to see. All I got was a clearer view of the lights and some of the surrounding stars, but no real clue as to what it was. Now, anyone who is familiar with this area knows that there is a military base just outside Mayford. However, Mayford? I think it's Mayford. Mayford County. After Corona, we're all going to look like Big Chungus. Nobody ever expects Big Chungus. I have a chubby. Now, anyone who is familiar with this area knows that there is a military base just outside of Mayford. However, I don't think this is the military. The Mayford base isn't some kind of top-secret Area 51 type place. It's pretty low security. In fact, its gym facilities are open to the public to use, and you can just drive onto the base to go there without even having to pass through any kind of checkpoint. It's primarily a training ground for land vehicles such as tanks and large military trucks, but no aircraft. They do occasionally hold off-site training exercises that do involve some aircraft from Borden, but they are always very open to the public about what they're up to as to not raise any alarm. As you can imagine, it would be kind of concerning to see a bunch of military trucks roll through your town unannounced, so they usually give a few weeks' notice before they start any operations. Because of this, I find it very unlikely that these lights are military helicopters because, if they were, they would likely be all over the local radio stations explaining exactly what they're up to. The other reason I don't think it's military is that these lights don't appear to make any noise. When I saw the lights from the bathroom window, I opened the window a crack to listen, and all I heard was silence. If these were helicopters, there should have been the usual thumping of far-off helicopter blades cutting through the air, but there was nothing. Furthermore, I don't know what kind of helicopter would have a light like that. As the days have gone on, more and more people have been reporting sightings of these mysterious lights in the sky on the Facebook group. No one really seems to be taking it that seriously and making jokes about aliens being the next catastrophe of 2020 after the virus. I'm not convinced whatever these lights are alien. However, it doesn't seem to have any good kind of fuck. Fucking hell, these fucking aliens got me tongue-tied and twisted. Steve started off kind of depressed tonight, but this chat has actually helped. Too crazy and hilarious to be sad. That's true, yeah. Fuck being sad. No time for that shit. Time to get glad. Time to drink some bleach. I kind of love that the drinking bleach meme has like made full circle, you know, because I feel like, you know, that was like a pretty popular one for a while. Like, maybe I'll just go drink bleach, you know, and then now it's apparently very useful for you. I had no idea. I'm not convinced whether these lights are aliens. However, it doesn't seem to have any kind of logical explanation either. Chubby Chungus. Choked on water, that's funny. Scary boo. Fucking boo. Wonder why it blurred out your fist, heart, tomato, hot dog, and toilet paper. I wonder why I blurred that out. That was a 2010 thing? Was it? No. I swear to God I've been hearing people... That make me feel old as fudge. I'm pretty sure the watch me eat bleach, or maybe I'll drink some... Let's see. Let me find this. Drink bleach meme time frame. What happens if you drink? Oh, god damn it. Oh, wait, okay. Look, look.
Hello.
Oh, shit. Behind the meme. What happens if you drink bleach? The origin and meaning of the bleach memes explain was from, and this was from 2016, so it must have even been before that. So that's what I was thinking. It was like 2015. Yeah, don't you remember all the YouTube? Look at this. There's so many YouTube like handles that are called Clorox bleach, you know? So it's this is very important research we just did. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk about bleach. Yeah, the Tide Pods, the bleach bullshit. I wonder if you can do bleach pods. Not like eat them, but like use them for your laundry. Yeah, it's come and gone probably many a times. Alright, so this is the last story of the night. It's a rash story ever right. The following story happened when I was about 16 years old, and still to this day, I reflect on it from time to time. A bit of background. I live in Australia, and I live reasonably close to the Royal National Park where this story takes place. If you aren't familiar with the park, it is a large area over 100 kilometers in space with winding roads and nothing but bushland that are quite fun to drive through. On a night like any other, I was doing just that. I was a passenger in my friend Ash's car, and my brother Lucas was with us. It was approximately 1 a.m., and we were driving deeper into the park as we had done hundreds of times before. As we came quickly around a bend in the route, we were face to face with a girl, standing at the edge of the road close to one of those barriers, as we must be near a cliff. She looked to be in her teens. Her age, I couldn't be sure. Though this sounds cliché, I swear she was wearing some kind of white dress and was pale-faced. I am an avid horror movie fan, so I understand how all this sounds. Her immediate appearance wasn't what was concerning to us. We had stopped virtually in the middle of the road, and the car headlights were shining directly on her. We became uneasy when the girl didn't blink, flinch, or move a muscle despite facing us directly. I remember wondering why she would be out here standing in the pitch-black night. I can't remember if my brother or our friend suggested it, but someone said, "Should we help her?" In that moment, so many questions were racing through my mind. I think I was the first to speak and said no, firmly. As much as I wanted to help, I reasoned with the boys, saying that if she was in trouble and needed help, she would have indicated it by now. I also suggested that it could be a trap used to distract us and someone could be nearby to attack us if we aided her. After what felt like hours, though really it was only a minute, we got out of there. We had to drive past her to continue our route and couldn't do a U-turn or a three-point turn because the road was too narrow. As we drove past her, I saw in the back seat and... Oops. Stop, dude, stop. No. Just need him to chill. He's just like, every possible way he can get my attention, he's just trying to get my attention. It's like, dude, we do this every 15 minutes. I let him out, and then he smashes his body to get in. I let him in, he'll lay for a second, maybe, until he rums around my legs. He's so stupid. Animals are pretty cool, though. I'm glad that they, invented those. Because they're just soft and nice to pet, and they don't yell at you about anything. I mean, they yell, but they don't, ever they don't not speak English or whatever. Seeing as he speaks Portuguese, he probably feels it's pretty worthless to say anything to me, because I won't understand what he's saying. Couldn't do a three-point turn. I get the chills. Okay. As we drove past her, I was in the back seat and turned my head to watch her. I still get chills when I think about this, but the girl's head turned slowly in sync with the car's movements and watched us drive by. I kept my eyes on her, and still she didn't blink or move as the light around her started to dim, until she was in the darkness again and I could no longer see her face. Oddly enough, the three of us didn't mention it the next day or for a long time. At least I don't remember having a conversation about it with Lucas. It was only a few years later when I started to question if I had a dream. Oops. It was only a few years later when I had started to question if I had dreamed it when I asked my brother and our friend if they remembered that night. To my horror and somewhat relief, they did. They recalled the details as I had recalled them, so I know it was real. Over the years, I have wondered what became of her. I regret not going to the police, and you may ask why I would even go to the police if she had done nothing wrong. Truth be told, there are no residents that deep in the park, and she was a good hour's walk or so from the nearest highway. So I simply wonder if she was a ghost, a lost, catatonic girl who needed help, or maybe she was something more sinister. I have gone back to the park several times since, specifically Joel's roommate eating his feet. He's just like sleeping below me, and I just run my toes through his lips every now and then. I'm trying to sleep. I have gone back to the park several times since, specifically to find the girl or see if there is a common occurrence. I have researched online for any clues as to who she may be. On one drive, when searching, I said to a friend of mine, Nick, who was happy to come along, that there could be bodies in the bush and no one would ever know. A week after I had said this, the dead body of a man was found a few feet away from the road in the bush by a motorist who had stopped to relieve himself. It was in the news, and it makes me wonder how many people are out there in that park, but most of all, I just wonder, who was she? She tastes like foot lettuce. All right. Pradeep's giving me these longing eyes for a good rub down. All right, guys, you guys will have to tell me something funny. Yeah, finding a body while trying to take a piss, that would be spooky as heck. What echoes? Oh, is it in the song, maybe? We made it. Made it to the end. You have survived another stream, my friends. But, yeah, let me know something funny to say at the end here. Hey, friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let's Read Official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on folk. Hey, listen! Kitty with a 2 says, glad I caught another stream. Stay safe. Thank you, Kitty. Kitty. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And my roommate is sucking my toes. I saw that pop up at the last second. I'm like, that's pretty fucking funny. I'm gonna use that. Don't be sassy. Let's get saucy. Well, guys, that was almost a 4-hour stream. That's a pretty long in there for you. I think these were some solid stories too. So just thank you guys for sending them in over on the subreddit, reddit.com/r/Let's-Read-Official. I will probably get to sleep here. But, be sure to join the Discord. Hit me up on social media to follow me on there to be notified of everything. Click that notification bell if you haven't already, just to know. This video will come out today, technically on the East Coast at 7 p.m. EST. and we'll have that ready to rock and roll. First access on Patreon, $1 a month, blah blah blah. And yeah, love you guys. Yeah, this was pretty much a 4-hour rant. I still do these rants even when you guys aren't around. I just kind of talk to myself about stuff. Just kidding, kind of. But yeah, thank you for being here. Thanks for sticking it out with me. And well, not necessarily sleeping, probably just like laying in my bed, staring at my phone. But you know how it goes. And yeah, I love you guys. I'm gonna see you off here. But if you want to catch this stream again, if you missed a part of it and you want to listen to it, it'll be on the streams playlist as an unlisted video. So keep an eye out on that if you're into that sort of thing. But once again, love you guys, and I'll see you again soon.